for Hampus.
And in terms of that, is it literally just a straight one-for-one trade in roles and positions? Is it just going to be exact slotting, or is there some more changes you've had to do?
On some maps, we changed a little bit, but I mean, I just wanted to make Maxter comfortable as well. And we have a lot of versatile players, and hopefully we will see that today.
Now, the one benefit I would say, I think it benefits the rest of the players on the team, is you get exactly the same veto as last time around. So is that something where you can throw in something a bit more wild, you know, take a few more risks in order to try and beat NAVI? Because I guess for you guys, the pressure's off a little bit.
Yes, definitely the pressure is off a little bit, but we still, I think we have a really good game plan when, like, going into this game, and we talked a lot about why it happened as it happened, especially like on Overpass, because Overpass has always been our strong map. So we struggled a lot on CT sides, definitely, to like versus NAVI, and now we have a way clearer and I would say easier plan as well.
And for a young player like Maxter coming in, right, you go into a tier 1 event, you have 1 day's notice. What do you even tell him to say, like, oh, I feel comfortable? Not You're playing NAVI in your first game. No one really wants that.
I mean, that is something Truls will do, our performance coach. I've been just like trying to get him into like all the tactical things and aspects. But yeah, of course, like it's a huge task for him. But we had a lot of practice yesterday, and he's playing very good. Way better than I thought and I expected. So yeah, hopefully he will show that today.
Good that the Ninjas have had a little bit of time with new blood Maxter coming into things. Last time when this match was playing just beforehand, we obviously are drawing a lot of comparisons between Hedrick and NPL, not least because they used to be on the same team of NAVI juniors as well. How, in terms of their development, have they developed in front of your eyes then, Jacob?
I mean, I think Hedrick won that duel, if you may allow me to say that. Hedrick had a good showing in NIP in the first couple of games, especially against NAVI as well. NPL had a rough start at the World Finals in Abu Dhabi, but he's slowly but surely starting to show some of that progress. He's had a couple of good maps, a couple of good sites, Inferno being one of them right here. You saw him actually find a lot of impact in this game, so good to see that. And the cynic in me is just thinking, yeah, we talk about how that may relieve the pressure on Hedrick. Yeah, we talk about how they may, you know, make NIP think they have no pressure, but it's also something that NAVI can take advantage of. They are also a bit of a wounded animal. We've seen a NAVI not play too well. We've seen an NPL not get off to the best start. If I'm him right now, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going in against NIP. It's not really going well for them. They're making a roster change. They're bringing in Maxter. This is a game I want to dominate. This is a game where I want to establish myself. This is a game where I want to dictate the game and come in and have one of those good performances. So if you be a little bit cynical right here, I think right now NPL is the one winning from all of this, because he gets another golden chance of actually stepping into the tier 1 scene.
Where do you land on the NPL discussion then, Matthew? Because I think if Jacob was perfectly alluding to back at World Finals, it was a strugglesome period for him to be kind of making their debut on just a handful of maps that Blade had selected him for. Now as a permanent member of the team, how is he kind of sitting with you so far?
I think he's shown different phases, different roles in which he's had plus minus comfort. I think on Inferno, for example, he's played it twice here in Copenhagen, and that was very decent. But what I would like to talk about is how complicated and hard it must be to be on that NAVI roster and not performing. I think they're one of the highest or most demanding team there is out there. Not only because of the structure and because of the name and all of the, the prestige, that's coming on with NAVI, but also just playing next to Simple, playing next to Electronic, having Blade behind you. I guarantee you, these people expect the best out of you. And I think we've seen it with SDY in a different manner, but whenever you start underperforming, I think it gets on your shoulder, it gets on your mind. So I'm hoping that NPL very quickly catches on, that he very quickly improves, and he gets that positive feedback from within the team. Otherwise, it might be really complicated.
It's a good point to bring forward, because it's needed right now. We've spoken a little bit about Electronic having a strugglesome period. We've spoken about Simple not looking like him old self right now, in a bit of a slump compared to his own standards. So usually you could be NPL, you could cruise through the game, you could have 10, 15 kills, and you would still win, and that would be a nice way of ease into things. But they actually rely on this kid right now. If he's not performing, there's enough lack of firepower within NAVI right now, as we've seen in this tournament, that he is a vital part of this membership already. So as you said, there's already some added pressure on towards him.
And you also have to add, of course, 2022 was a very complicated year for NAVI. It was very tumultuous. Events in the world, of course, the situation in Ukraine, the trophies that they would have had, the era that didn't happen, all that disappointment and the frustration, I think it bottled up. And I don't know if they can take much more than that. I think they very quickly need some good signs, some wins, some momentum. I don't know how they can the resilience can stand if things get hard as well. So if you're NAVI, you're definitely quickly looking for good signs and some green numbers.
Well, Jacob, you spoke of Simple, so let's get him on the mic with Banks.
So Sasha, the journey for NAVI is now started for 2023. You've said about like having a stable roster, you know what you're going to have for 2023, but what are you learning from each game so far? Because you've had a couple of series now, you've had some up and downs already, but what's the main takeaways?
I just see how we progress as a team. So we changed a lot of roles, and we just need to play to have more synergy on these roles between players.
And in terms of that synergy, right, obviously these changes are not small when you change roles and positions all the time. How long do you think it will take for you guys to be up to standard? Because obviously everyone looks at NAVI and puts a lot of pressure on you guys being one of the best teams in the world.
I think at least 1 month, 1.5 months, and we'll definitely gonna be play for the trophies again. Like right now we still have a chance, but in 1.5 months, maybe max 2 months, our chances will increase.
I like it. So you fully believe in the process as well. And talking about belief, when you played the G2 game, there was a moment where you guys were very quiet. I think they were up 14-7. That 2v4 happens. You win the round, but then we saw the NAVI come alive again. Is that something you guys are lacking at times, like the confidence?
Yeah, I think we just had bad start against NAP and against G2 on those 2 maps. And I just think we really know how to do comeback, and we know how to snowball other teams. But we just need time to, as I said, it's all about time. Because every time when you change at least one player, there's a lot of examples like G2, Vitality, and other teams who, like even us with Boomich and Perfecto and Beat, we still wanted to play more as a team before we actually get some trophies.
Definitely so. Now, in terms of looking at your individual performance, there's many people that look at your numbers now and go, oh, it's not as good, whatever, etc. But yet your numbers are still better than what most players would even dream and hope of. For you, what do you look at when it comes to individual performance? That it will get better or back to the levels you were at once the team situation is more comfortable?
Yeah, first of all, as a team, to be more comfortable. And the second thing, I just started to play like I did before 24/7. So I'm pretty sure everything will change in better way than in last year.
And talk to me about Electronic as the IGL now, because you guys were very positive about him. Obviously, he's still learning. But the thing I look at is the trade-off between Electronic used to be the second star of the team, so sometimes we miss that. How does that affect you guys?
I think I think we're still trying to learn to be a star player, Beat and Perfecto. And I think in terms of individual performance, Electronic doing a great role because he put a lot of big numbers in practice and official games as IGL. But the main thing is to start play better as a team, and I'm pretty sure the other players on different positions will play much better.
I like it. So it's the waiting game right now for all of us. Now, going up against NIP again today in the rematch, it's exactly the same maps as what we saw last time around, but obviously they come in with a young stand-in. Does this make it easier for you guys just because this player won't have the experience, or could it cause a bit more confusion as they'll do some stuff that's a bit more random?
I think it can give some confusion to our game because maybe they will try to change positions in Mirage because Alexi B was... his new role is B player, and maybe because of this NIP junior, NIP Young Ninjas stand-in, maybe they will change something. So it's going to be interesting, but of course we're not going to underestimate them, and we're just going to play because we prepared like we did for any opponent. And
did you expect it to be the same Vito?
Yes, we just wanted to pick maybe Overpass, but I said, Blade, let's do Mirage again because how they beat us, I don't understand. I mean, we played decent, but we played better City side. Maybe it's going to be a bit easier since they have a stand-in.
As Simple mentioned, Bit obviously another crucial pillar of the NAVI structure, but turbulent times might be an understatement for him, Jacob.
Yeah, I love the point about him saying that Bit has to learn to be a star. He has to learn to be a guy you can rely on, and he hasn't quite been so for NAVI the last couple of months. His ratings, his stats are okay, but we saw what Bit could do in 21 and in the vast majority of 2022 as well. He is a fantastic Counter-Strike player, but it's a little bit too much up and down for him. He has a good performance, then a bad performance, then a good performance, and he's taking over for Electronic, who used to be one of the most consistent, reliable reliable rifle players out there. So there's still some learning progress, for BIT to become that star player you can rely on.
And there definitely is. Hot and cold. We saw the numbers from the first game and the second. I just think a whole lot of people, myself included, kind of forgot that there is still a whole lot of chapters to be written in the book of BIT. He came out with NAVI. When LAN kicked back again, they won everything there was to win. He directly made it to the top 10 of Counter-Strike, and we thought, well, that's it. He definitely just stepped from rookie one day to established pro player the next day. We completely forgot about all the rest and that voyage that he has to go on. And now this is a new step for him. He has to show us that he can come back from a difficult position. He can come back when he's having a little bit of a draw individually, and that is next arch, if you want.
Initial thoughts on Inferno as well, obviously, NIP bringing that into the pool once again because they struggled in the second half last time around.
I have my eyes on Simple, and Simple only. We've seen him play 30 rounds CT side on Inferno, and he has 7 kills in those 30 rounds. He's been struggling massively on the CT side. 1.5 against NIP the first time around. He only got 1 kill. That's not going to happen this time around. I'm sure Simple has figured out some of the mistakes, probably looked over the demo, so I'm looking towards Simple, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's coming out firing on all cylinders. I have a feeling this is going to be a quick 2-0 for NAVI, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, damn. Simple on all cylinders. Listen, I'll stay on the CT side as well. Something that I didn't really like about NAVI very recently is how the lack of movement was really, really damaging their CT side. They've accepted to play a bunch of 3-2 setups, not really grabbing for information. I'm not asking them to be heroic. It's all right. You can stay in your vein, but just have a little bit more movement, a bit more initiative. Go for the kill, go for the information, and I think that's going to help them already a lot.
Obviously, a carbon copy of the Veto going down last time around, and NIP once again bringing Inferno into the mix, this time with a different squad, as Maxter will be standing in for Hampus. We're going to see how it goes down with Maui and Anders in just a few.
exciting Counter-Strike is coming your way, and it's a rematch. We've got NIP and NAVI playing against each other once again on the same maps. What are we to expect this time? I mean, there is a standard in place that's a little bit different, but last time was a bit weird. I thought both teams looked shaky at times. I wasn't super impressed, really, but I would love to see NIP step it up just a smidge this time.
You would like to see that. Of course, the speed bump is the fact that they are playing with Maxter in the stead of Hampus. So for Na'Vi, they should be the ones that clean things up. They're playing with the same roster, obviously. The NPL project is still underway. We're still getting a feel for this rookie. But NIP, they have to battle through adversity for this one.
Yeah, an uphill struggle, perhaps from the beginning, we're about to find out. And for Maxter, especially getting thrown into the deep end. Trial by fire right now. It doesn't get any crazier than this. What an experience for a young player to be facing Na'Vi on land like this, having never really played at this kind of a level. So I'm excited for that too.
Maxter has never played against a top 10 ranked opponent.
Wow, yes.
So he's going to get to do it on the big stage here.
Well, let's see if he can calm the nerves. Alexi's leading the flock up through the middle. All 5 of them, they're going to be popping their way through. It's an explosive play coming out. Hetrick, he's the first casualty of that mid-push. Bit just easily getting rid of him. He does have the most ridiculous headshots, doesn't he? 4 on 5 now. One more, taken down Brolin. It's so crisp and clean, and he's looking for one more headshot. There we go. Finally, Rez managed to sneak up close enough that he could eliminate that USP, but it might be too late. 2 on 3 as Alexi and Rez try and see if they can recover the round after the damage that was wrought by Bit. And the bomb gets planted behind it. It's MPL and Electronic and Perfecto on the other side. And a good sneak up. Alexi, this is so smart. Instead of playing passive inside the bomb site, he's trying to push up and take away the advantage. He's actually hunting it down. Perfecto's low on help, and Alexi, he's found a way. 3 kills on him. That is a brilliant recovery from NIP.
Truly impressive play from Alexi B. You really think that the shots from Bit would have been enough, but they're able to withstand it. NIP are able to pick up the pistol, but Bit's precision right now is something to behold. We heard the desk, we heard Maniac and Pimp both talking about the inconsistencies in Bit thus far at the spring groups, but if he's able to hit some shots like that, you could hope for the best.
Yeah, and I think that really is fair criticism too, because when you see that level, you just want more of it. You don't want it to go away. You don't want to see him take any kind of a back seat. You just want to see him hit those headshots all the time. So I hope that that's what we're going to be witnessing. A lost round for Na'Vi results in some Deagles, some 5.7s, and an MP9. It's an interesting little variation there for Na'Vi. 5.7s on this map, I feel like, are just getting more and more dangerous all the time.
They're so powerful at close range. Bit, though, he'll be the one wielding the MP9 close balcony. Oh, and it does look like NIP want to challenge this.
Yeah, this is a really good call for the setup for Na'Vi. This could be devastating. They're probably going to have a flashbang, but you can see Bit is trying to dodge it already. Oh, they get the early kill on Simple. That's huge. It breaks up the crossfire. If not for that, they might have been slowed down, and it could have been all over. So I actually think NIP, they kind of walked that off pretty quickly, made it look like it wasn't a big deal. That could have been a devastating push just now. They could have been locked in there. If even one person dies for NIP early on, the rest gets slowed down behind it, and it all crumbles. So, well played.
So frequently, it is down to whoever's able to find the first frag entering the bomb site. NIP, I mean, you said it. They really were running into a stack right there. It was 4 people from Na'Vi, and yet they were able to only suffer a single casualty. So the upgrades, the buy from Na'Vi doesn't quite pay off. Going to be seeing them save into the next one.
But interesting that they managed to pick the right place to stack, and that's exactly where NIP showed up. That's one of those probably, bits of homework that's been done on the Na'Vi side, saying that maybe that's something that NIP kind of like to do. Let's just give it a shot. Lots of different ways to stack a round like that, but they picked the right position at least. Just didn't really work out. Yeah, oh, you see just putting up a smoke. That's what does it. All right, fair play.
Yeah, nice entry there from Maxter, getting himself on the board early. That's what you want to see. Don't want the stand-in to suffer early on in this game, just in the pit, 0 kills. As soon as you get on, it brings you a little bit of confidence. Yeah. Just takes the pressure off your shoulders.
Yeah, I've done something.
There's the contribution.
Yeah, just, I mean, you're right. It does make a difference. Nobody just wants to be stuck at 0 for a long time. Speaking of which, that's true for 4 people on the Navi side. I realize it's early, so it's probably a little bit of an absurd piece of criticism here, but still, funny to see. I'm sure it'll change pretty soon. But this will be another round where they have to sit it out and just kind of wait a little bit. Curious what will happen once NIP start to be up against the rifles. I think last time one of the things they really struggled with was getting banana control, if I remember. That was something that they didn't get to do a lot, and it limited a lot what Alexi could do on that T side.
Yeah, you really think that NIP would be a team that would be pretty solid at taking map control, given the personnel they have. You have a couple aggressive riflers, Hampus, Brolin, but yeah, against Navi, I think last time it was a bit more treacherous, that is. There is a push towards bracket. NPL with the P250. He's able to find one. This might make NIP second guess this, but no, they just wait, and he gives up the chase. Simple is here on the rotation through library, but it's just a deagle, and it's quite a distance away. No other rotation from Navi coming in, so Simple has to do it all on his own.
Kind of needs probably somebody to crouch into that fight. If they just should jump high or run by, it's unlikely. All right, try to hit the timing, but Rez with the better weaponry on the other side will ultimately win the fight. 15 seconds, and NIP not feeling very stressed about the time. They're checking the bomb site, they're making sure no one's hiding, and that's all good. It'll be 3-0 in favor of NIP. It's a nice beginning. If you're playing with a stand-in and you don't really necessarily know what's coming your way, then at least get the pistol and start to get things rolling. But obviously the real test will be this next round.
Yeah, last time these two teams faced off against each other, it was Navi that took it 16-9 just 4 days ago. But NIP on the T side, they actually did pretty well. They found 8 rounds. It was the CT side that betrayed them. And I think when we think about that banana control we were talking about, it was kind of on the CT side. Like Brolin tried forcing it sometimes, or you couldn't really see anybody finding consistent control. So in some ways, I'm not incredibly concerned about NIP on this half. It's just, can they put together a defense?
Okay, so there's something to look forward to. Maybe Alexi could call it similarly. Although I imagine it's kind of a unique challenge too, when you're in a position where you're replaying the same map against the same team with not that many days between, because you obviously can't do everything the same. Then that's going to be maybe a little bit too obvious. So you need to try and play almost a little bit against the style that you were playing last time, throw in some tricks every once in a while, or at least just change some of the timings a bit so that they can stay fresh. That's an auto shotgun on Simple in the 4th round. Okay.
You don't see that too often.
You don't.
Interesting purchase. If anybody can make it work, though, it's him.
It's a beautiful skin, and it's a beautiful kill to take down Alexi. He must be surprised as well, with not having his back covered, and that's actually seems like a big mistake in the setup. There was somebody over at Arch that maybe could have helped out, but I think too far away. I think it's MPL that, guess he was helping Simple in the middle. That is a bit weird. And now you see the downside of the auto shotgun. How is he going to be defending anything from that position?
Almost feels like you'd want to retrieve the gun that was dropped in that mid-fight earlier. But this is going to take a while for Navi to get into it. They don't actually have a kit to work with either. So if they don't find a kill in the next handful of seconds...
They're already gone.
Yeah, I don't think they can even go for this, no.
I don't think the remaining player even... I think Perfecto stayed in B the whole time. I think he never really left. So they probably made that choice early on. They said, okay, we'll give them another round. That's in spite of getting the entry here, but they just never felt like it was going to be possible for the retake. So, yeah, very deliberate early call from the Navi side, saying you can have 4. And then we're going to come back and do some more damage the next round, hopefully.
Yeah, this is a pretty poor feeling for Navi, of course, given the fact that this round was decided on essentially a single kill and then the positioning thereafter. But NIP, early on, 4-0 start. Not seemingly too disturbed by the fact that they're playing with a stand-in. Everything is going more or less according to plan. Obviously, unfortunate circumstances, but wishing Hampus best.
And these are a couple of rounds now where they get out of the A apartments like that. It's also an interesting position to be in on the T side if you can keep hitting that soft spot and make Navi a little bit nervous about that, maybe Navi will have to respect it more in the future. And you can exploit that in other ways if you feel like that's going to be, that pit position is going to be vulnerable. Electronic, probably not necessary to take that kind of damage.
This is still looking pretty solid for NIP. I mean, even though they don't have banana, but they actually force Navi out of it, and this is also a push towards middle that is not actually expending too much utility from the offense. They have so many options left in the round, and you can see they are making their way back to banana.
All right, yeah, retaking it. And a pretty loud retake when you hear those double flashes go out. I bet on the other side of it, Navi have a decent idea of what's out there, even if they can't really spot it, but they can certainly hear the grenades. That is a very weak smoke.
Yeah, it's got a huge gap on that left side right there. Don't think I could say that's intentional either, but Rez wants to push on forward. It does seem like NIP are going for the hit now, though.
Yeah, they didn't want to slow it down. They realized, let's just go for it. 35 seconds. Good spray, but even better return. Maxter gets the headshot in the back on Perfecto, and that is the kill that's going to allow them to at least get a bomb plant here. A 3-on-3, and Navi have been quick to save in some of the previous rounds. This time, at least, they're moving a bit closer to see if they could set something up. They do have a defuse kit on bit, so there is a chance to get in here, and maybe critically as well, that one Molotov at MPL, he's going to throw it all the way in the back, and even if nobody's there, it's just a good angle that they don't have to cover now in the same way, and they can be a little bit more safe and feel like maybe nobody's hiding back there. 3-on-3 though, and they need to be quick with it. Maxter, that's another good headshot. He's still in the back here now on his own. You know, one, oh, wait a minute. Maxter got Hetrick still moving out there. Simple, he's going to get one kill. I don't even know if he can run away from the bomb, and Maxter gets the last one. A good triple. That is well done. Just holding in the back. Good shots and a good timing for NIP to hit that bomb side. It wasn't even a really deep strategy. It just worked really well.
Yeah, they just got that B control, or banana control that is. They exec'd into the site and were able to play a successful post plant. Not much more to it, but Maxter, this is really nice to see. Good signs that even though this is a high pressure moment for him, he's able to show so many people now for the very first time what he's capable of. He's able to deliver, sitting at 5-2. It's nothing too flashy either. Like, he's not playing outside of himself. He's just playing right in the system that NIP wants him to, and he's looking good doing it.
Yeah, and that'll obviously be the next test. If it's a good start, will he start to make mistakes from getting too excited? Because that can easily happen. You could easily end up on the other side of it. We don't know yet. We're going to find out. Very questionable weaponry on the Navi side as they are struggling at the start of this game. 5-0 lead for NIP. Navi don't look too warmed up at the moment. Simple with the AWP, and that is obviously a different experience that they're going to have to accommodate for as well.
But they're holding on to banana control still for NIP. They could have opted to just go for a similar strategy that they did last round, but they really want to test this A site. They might have thought that Simple rotated after that first shot, as many oppers do. Don't want to actually just keep playing the same spot, but Simple thinking one step ahead. He just stays in the exact same spot he took that shot from earlier.
Yeah, going to try and get the way around the corner. Alexei runs right into the shot. And this is already looking like a very muted round for NIP. Hard to bring it back from a 3-on-5 like this. They do have that position with Maxter playing up at the A apartment, so if he could find a kill, maybe he could open up the defense a bit more. Instead, it's Brolin, the first on the site. There was a smoke after he had died, and you could tell he had his back turned looking into the pit, expecting maybe that there was more coverage there, which there just definitely wasn't. Maybe a mistiming, or maybe some miscommunication, or just the pressure of playing the 3-on-5. But either way, it'll be the first round for Navi. 1-5.
Yeah, there was actually a smoke in the big pit, and it's possible that a Navi player threw that to try to fake some presence in that position. And so we really did see NIP keyed into that angle when they were trying to entry, overlooking any potential player in the site itself. Yeah, but not only Brolin turning to that, but we see this player on balcony too, just really convinced that there's somebody in pit. Yeah. So nice little fake if that was the case from Navi, and they're able to get themselves on the board. So NIP that time around, they had some good control, but they really wanted to force the issue towards A. And this time around, there will be a little bit more of a contest towards banana, some utility on both ends to try to take that space.
3 people from NAVI early on towards the B bomb site. So they're in a good position. If NIP wanted to play it quick, they'd probably run into quite a few grenades up here. And they've got Simple starting in a new position. If anyone is going to be feeling too aggressive out here. He's hit some good shots already. And he could easily be the X factor that'll bring him back into it. Although there is an AWP on the other side. That's on Hetrick. And he takes down Electronic to begin the round with. That's pretty huge. Simple still waiting, but the flashes will force him back, and they definitely hear that AWP go off. So some information as well for NIP to work with. They can be pretty sure because they know Electronic is always playing there, and they know the other player on the side is going to be Perfecto. So they know right now there's at max 2 people on the A bomb side.
That's a great read, and you can see how quickly that has moved the troops for NIP. Alexi calling for the A hit. NPL is actually out of position right now. He's taken away from the action because of that smoke, so it's all up to Bit in the pit.
With just a FAMAS, no less. What a difficult position to be in. He's got 1 headshot already, but the bullets are already coming through. He's finding another kill. That's so good. It still might be too late here. A little bit of a pre-fire. Perfecto's almost dead behind it. And Brolan doing a good job right now. He's got 1 kill in the round and 3 overall. So it's been a bit of a quiet start for him, but he's one of the players that just has to step up for NIP to win this game. And that 1 kill might have been enough to do it. Damage onto Perfecto, leaving him at 1 health, and he's running away from it. So 6-1. NIP, just a great call. Once they hear the AWP, they get the kill on Electronic, and they just do the math.
Very strong mid-round call from Alexi B. And also the speed at which it all took place is beautiful for them too, because this team, when Alexi B was first joining, when they were switching to English, it felt like there was a little bit of a lag, a little bit of delay in mid-rounds in terms of putting information together. But I think everybody's just gotten a lot more comfortable very quickly. We've seen teams in the past, obviously, have trouble when they have to switch from their primary language. But NIP might be catching up to speed on that.
I mean, they're getting there slowly but surely, especially on these T sides. They just look more comfortable. And Navi, at the moment at the very least, not catching up to whatever it is NIP are doing. Timeout being used for Blade to be able to chime in, maybe get the troops rallied a little bit behind this thing. Don't want to be letting NIP just run away with it the way that they are at the moment.
I can say for certain that last time we did watch these two teams face off, we were a little bit critical of the fact that Navi were so comfortable playing back all the time.
That's true.
Playing without information. And players like Bid and actually, I think it was Bid in Electronic that did pretty well last game. They were able to lock down their spots even when they were pushed back into the bomb sites. But this time around, we're seeing that just puts so much pressure on their shoulders. Bid in the last round, for example, just trying to multi-frag the best he can in pit. Doing it, he did a good job, but it's so hard without that advanced warning.
Yeah, and just like in the previous round, it's one of those fights that if you win it, you look like a hero and a god, and you get 2 kills, or you get 2 or 3 kills and you stay alive. But if you lose it, very often, there's no backup there. Library is going to get smoked off, you're going to be kind of alone, and you just don't have the warning for anyone to rotate over. So it can be a tough way to live a life on Inferno. 6-1 though. This is the beginnings of something really, really good for the NIP side. And the money for Navi, I mean, they've saved a couple here and there, which is something. Brolan looked like he jumped to catch the grenade. He'll take some damage for it. But he's alone out there on Banana, just keeping them occupied. The rest of NIP working the middle.
This is where NIP have to be diligent. Electronic sitting in the cubby. They haven't cleared his position just yet. Obviously, it's a very common one for defenders. And if NIP overlook this, it'll be an incredibly quick flank for that rifler. There's the flash. Beautiful setup from Bit. And we see that Electronic is able to already find the opener. And he delivers his team information. The rotation's already coming in for Navi. They're moving on over to A. This is going to be so difficult for NIP to breach.
Yeah, difficult, though, bordering on almost impossible. It's a 5-man defense at the A-bomb site. They're trying to make their way through. Brolan getting a kill and Hetrick on top of it, but it's still very, very late. 15 seconds. And how could they find the remaining player? Bit has got the right idea and the headshot to follow it up, and this is good. Hetrick just maybe save the AWP at this point. There is no way out of this round, and even that looks like it's not going to be possible. Simple, just holding him in there. Another round for Navi, which is good, but a little bit too early to celebrate.
That single flash from Bit, that peek from Electronic, it turned A into a fortress for Navi. They had every single person to defend there. They understood that LXCB and NIP were committing up that short side. So Bit, if he already looked strong when it was just him in the pit, imagine when there are crossfires enabled on top of that. And so NIP, they call their first timeout. They feel that the momentum for Navi is beginning to build, and that's something you want to nip right away. Don't give them any chance, any feeling for the game whatsoever.
No, definitely not. We talked about this last time. Navi is one of the hardest teams in the world to really put away. So even if you have a little bit of a lead here, it can change, and it can be very, very hard at the end of the match regardless. So I wouldn't start celebrating early. Bit dropping 10 kills has got to be good news. He started off well, and he's still keeping it up.
It's a great sign for Navi and their future, given the fact that I think it was questionable when they first made the move to put him there. But Perfecto challenged, and jumping right through the smoke is Brolin. Nice assist from Alexi B, but Rez was right behind him too. Electronic playing right around that smoke. Ooh, maybe a little bit of a misstep right there, but he's still able to recover with a single kill, and NPL was right there with him. And so Navi, they're able to keep it an even 3 versus 3.
The slight jump up on the barrel, the falling off in the middle of the spray, just a lot of things happening. Too much movement. Otherwise, could have been a beautiful, maybe double spray down from Electronic, and that would have potentially changed the outcome of the round. Under a minute now. And look at Simple just at least peeking over on the other side. It's not a ton of information, but he is looking into, I think, Boiler Room just to see if anything's happening there. It's NPL at the back of the site entirely on his own, and he can't stand up to that fight. 2 versus 3 with a quick bomb plant to follow, and already Navi realizing this does not feel like a winnable round. That'll be 7 for NIP.
That was a rough one for NPL, obviously. Wow. The players strafing practically perpendicular to his angle, and just gonna be always just tough to track them when it's a headshot angle like that. Here's Brolin jumping through the smoke, and we see that NIP catching Navi off guard right there. That's a nice little play that they went for. You always got to test those bottom banana smokes. Sometimes you get away with quite a bit, and we saw an example, case in point there. Wow. Okay. LXCB just running straight down to take out Simple. Bit will be able to save that off, but that is a casualty that I do not imagine Navi expected going into the next round.
No, definitely not. And it always stings a bit more when you've already made the choice to save. Obviously looking for exit kills, but still you feel like, well, we could have been really safe if we wanted to, but we got just a little bit greedy, perhaps. Wow, I wasn't expecting this. If anything, you would have thought it might be more towards Navi overall, given the stand-in situation, and also the fact that Navi they've played a bit of the tournament now. They're a little bit more warmed up than they were last time, but they don't look it at the moment. 7-2. NIP, they're cruising through with a pretty high speed at the moment. It only seems to be going one way. And by the way, that last round, if NIP would have lost it, they would have been out of money. They would have been saving, and that's exactly when Navi could get back into it. So the fact that they make their way through one of those crucial rounds that almost destroys the economy is great news all on its own.
But NIP aren't out of the woods just yet. We see that 3 of their players under $200 each.
True.
Just a couple with a little bit more cash to spare. So this is still a chance for Navi to bring this game back. Down 7-2, but you can't really say for certain that Navi won't make this half competitive. Early utility, some presence towards B. Brolin doing a good job to actually avoid all of the damage, still at 100 health. That's pretty rare with all that nade damage that usually comes in. But NIP, they're interested in contesting this side of the map once again. NPL in the cubby, swings out. Ooh, actually he gets blinded and he's not able to connect, but no, he recovers to take down Alexi B, and now we see the rotation is in, the crossfire is here. Bit, Simple, NPL, everybody connecting right now, and NIP, they feel completely stuck in the bracket. They made that their grave.
That's going to be one of the most frustrating rounds. Very similar to the last time when Electronic was there. Instead, this time it's NPL with the FAMAS, but if they'd killed him right away, they would have been ready for Simple on the other side. But because it takes longer, he wheels in the AWP and more people keep showing up. You know what can solve this problem? It's a good Molotov in the corner instead.
We have yet to really see that, because now we've seen Electronic in that position, we've seen NPL in that position, NIP, they've been doing a great job of getting that map control towards Banana, using all the utility necessary, but it seems like Bracket has been it's given them a little bit more issue. So DJL coming in with the timeout, wants to iron some things out. This is the second time that NIP call a timeout just after that single round win from NAVI. They want to just make sure that their heads are screwed on tight and that they're playing in a meticulous enough fashion to negate opportunities such as this.
Super frustrating. You know when you're that first man in fighting MPL in the corner, you know the rest of the round, it just dominoes from that position. That's it. Like, everything that goes wrong after that, it's kind of based on the fact that you didn't get that first kill. Unfortunate. But like you pointed out, the money's not that great for NIP even after that previous win, so now they're down to the pistols. See if they could find something other. The lineup is looking great for Electronic. He's had a less than ideal time defending top Banana for the minute, but this might be a chance to change it. And for NAVI, by the way, as well, they win that last round with no casualties, and also on top of that, they get 3 AKs to put on top of it. So it's a nice swing in their direction.
Oh yeah, this is really tough now for NIP to break NAVI. Not only do they have that upgraded weaponry, but they've got some cash to work with. Even if they take a casualty or 2 in this round, they should still feel fine moving forward. This is what was scary for NIP. You're up 7-2, but all the money, all these different situations that go against you, and they have. There's that molly we were talking about. NPL, there was a nice smoke to put it out, and it does look like someone will be able to assist him. I think Simple is throwing a flash for him. The spray is there. That's beautiful from NPL. 4 kills for him off the back of an excellent setup from Simple. But there we go.
That is so well done. And just having the presence of mind and the timing for it, yeah, you like to see that. And for NPL, it's another big question mark, and something else that we've been talking a fair bit about, although he's been playing, I think, above most people's expectations at this point in time. This round up against Pistols, but still, we'll give him some credit for it. And obviously with the flash assist in there. Yeah. Now, even then, they just don't have the money for it. That's pretty devastating. Like we said, there is a window back for NAVI to still have a respectable first half, and they're getting there really fast all of a sudden.
It feels like the snowball is building for NAVI, and it is headed downhill. NIP, they've done their best, but this game is slowly slipping away from them. Just Glocks for the Ninjas. At the very least, they're doing a good job of waiting out the round, making NAVI expend quite a bit of utility. That's probably one of the only things you can be too happy about so far in this one. I guess they have some position, though. They're pretty close, but it's just so difficult, given the firepower discrepancy here, to imagine any outcome other than a NAVI victory.
Yeah, especially with the boost up here, right? How do you peak that with pistols and actually get an entry? Turns out you don't.
I can't even really imagine the world where you would be able to take that guy out with Glocks. It's just such a strong spot on top of New Box. Oh, he fell off of it. Oh.
Maybe run boost the first Glock in and just hope that it takes so long to win the fight that...
Yeah.
But I mean, setting up a run boost basically at the lips of the B-bomb site, maybe not a good idea.
Oh, well, I think they're trying it. Well, that's exactly why. Case in point, Anders. That's why you don't set up there.
That's an ace for Electronic, by the way, but against pistols and, you know, no armor. Still, he's going to be happy about it. They did. I'm glad. We're reading the future at this point in time. They wanted to. I appreciated that.
Oh. You're like, first jump, second jump, just win, guys. Okay, well, we'll save that one for next time.
Surely, at this point, NAVI just feel just almost recovered. Even 5 rounds is not amazing on the CT side of Inferno. They must be feeling like, all right, well, it was a slow start, but it doesn't really matter. We're here now, and we're ready for it. Oh, no, the grenades are escaping.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of rolling around. Okay, he's got him. No big deal. Another nade going his way. Okay. This is a round that's developed similarly to many, where the Ninjas have this banana control. There's this cache of nades for Electronic to work with, and this could be good damage right there. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. That'll show up in the ADR. They break this one down. Of course, it is unconfirmed, as Launders does love to point out. So, might not actually impact how Navi play this round in any significant way.
No, it's good damage, but you're right. I mean, it shouldn't maybe change too much yet. Only the one M4 in play as well. That's the other thing to think about when you're up against a lot of M4s. That kind of damage suddenly changes them to one-shot headshots, but most of them are AKs on the other side. Good catch as NPL will take down Rez, just pure timing. And he didn't see anyone else behind it, so it's probably going to feel like, yeah, that's just a one person, which means very likely they're setting up on Banana at the same time. I think that's why Perfecto is trying to get back there with a little bit of speed behind it. Smoke goes up, and I think now they know. You could see NPL's rotating through Archway right now. I think Navi have a good read of what's coming towards the bomb side. And Electronic, he just has to buy some time for the smoke, though. Perfecto's taking one kill, and he keeps it going. Electronic, he's actually the main anchor on the bomb side, but he hasn't had to do anything. His teammates have done all the work for the smoke, and this round just falls apart for NIP.
That was an excellent defense from Navi. It felt very simple, but they just held on to the space. They were able to have this extra warning towards bracket. They constantly had eyes on it. Because of that, NPL was able to rotate even earlier. The kill he found made it so much easier on Perfecto, on Electronic. Everybody is able to perform so much better because they just knew where that hit was going for NIP.
And that's the power of being just a bit more proactive. Like we mentioned it last time, the criticism of Navi was not having quite enough of those plays. And it's just taking a peek, whether you win the fight or not. I mean, even in a world where it's not a kill for NPL in the middle, but he just sees that they're far back, he has a good read there. It gives you something to work with. You're not just playing in the dark.
Yeah, sees or doesn't see. Both valuable information when there's 25 seconds left on the clock. Okay, this is a great comeback for Navi, winning 6 of the last 8 rounds, making this game suddenly very competitive. And now NIP, you can see actually in those webcams some of the frustration setting in for them. They probably felt like this was a very comfortable position, but they now find themselves against the beast that is Navi, and they have warmed up.
Trying to look right over the smoke. You've got to be careful. Tech9's on the other side, and they're going to run him down just as the smoke was fading. And if they wanted to keep it going, no, it would still be a good idea. I don't think they know how many people are on the other side, but the smoke to try and buy some time. Perfecto's created a bit of a wall for himself to be rotating at the back of the bomb side, and that's good for at least the kill, and he continues the spray. Pistols out, and he gets the headshot on Maxter as well. What a defense from Perfecto. That is why he is such a rock. Otherwise, they could have definitely lost the round, but he just chewed them up.
That was wonderful from Perfecto, playing around his own smoke between the pillars perfectly, strafing out to get the timing on the player jumping up water, then swiveling to kill the player approaching him new box. All so well constructed by a guy that Simple put a little bit more pressure on. He said in that pre-game interview that it's up to a couple of these guys like Bit and Perfecto to play like stars. And I think last year you would have definitely said, Perfecto, a star? That's an interesting prospect, but if they can get this consistency out of him, as he's been showing, then Navi are going to stay a consistent top team.
Oh, definitely. What a resource it would be. I feel like Perfecto's strength has always been his decision-making. He seems to just always be so ahead of the curve when it comes to whatever the next fight is going to be. But whether or not he can match that in those high-pressure situations, that was basically him against 3 people, and he managed to do it, that's an interesting sign. This time, Brolin trying the same trick as he did previously, getting through the flashbang, and Electronic is absolutely ready for it. Tied up game at 7-7 and going into the 15th round. NIP, they must feel that their hearts are sinking a little bit.
The pressure is right there. It's against their chests. They were up 7-2, and Navi have tied the game. They have a man advantage, and for it to be 7-2, and you end up losing the half, that's one of the worst feelings.
Yeah, and maybe just mentally, because 7 rounds is still pretty good, it just won't necessarily feel that way. trying to breach the crossfire. A little bit of a boost on top, and Electronic is good for the spray. A big double kill, and Perfecto is still back here. 30 seconds. He's trying to make himself difficult to find, and even worse, he's getting headshots on top of it. Flash from NPL, and the kill for Perfecto, and Navi win the half. That is devastating for NIP.
When you guys were starting out as an AWPer, was there certain players you looked up to? Was there a player you thought, I like how he plays it?
I watched a lot of demos of Kenias and Device. And man, Oscar as well, back at the days, he was unstoppable.
I watched like some Fallen POVs.
Fallen, yeah.
Device, yeah. Like those hoppers.
Man, even Cold Zero sometimes. He's second hopper, but he's,
Actually, it's true. I was watching Cold Zero days before. It was one of the best examples for me was on Cash. Okay. If you're gonna talk about like main opers, it was Device most of the times, and Sasha, and Fallen back in the days. Because he even gives some guides for Brazilian fans. And I had some people in my friend list that was good at translating. So nice. They was giving me these videos, and I was watching Mirage tips from Fallen. I even told it to him when we meet first time in real life.
Like Colzero, he made this highlight, right, on Car Mirage. Yeah. Like people in the future, like, he's not main op, right? He's rifle. He's anchor maybe even. No, I don't remember. But people will think he's an op, right? Because of this highlight. It's crazy.
Ones that stay in your mind for sure. And when you're doing that, right, you're looking at these, how do you translate what they do and something you can put into your game? Does it need to be a player that plays same position, or is it just the fact they use the AWP?
Like, for example, like if I play against a team, I try to watch like before the game starts, try to watch like some POV of AWPer against who I'm playing, right? But for example, like on Mirage, like when we played against NAVI, I remember, like I tried to watch like simple POV, but it's hard to prepare for him because it's like you know, like it's an AWPer who's always moving, and you cannot like predict where he will stay. You know,
and you know, sometimes like Monazy can watch my demo, and I understand that he saw my last Mirages, so I need to change something.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're mind gaming each other?
No, of course. It's like this between teams as well.
Oh.
I'm watching the Poe demos as well, but I like to see more like small details when he's trying to peek somehow, or he has some.
A start for NIP that looked like it was too good to be true, because it was. They made it back, NIP, or not NIP, but Navi on that second part of the first half. Very, very impressive. It started, 7-2, and then Navi just made their way all the way back. And for NIP, they need a comeback of their own. I think winning this pistol round might be important for the team morale, because it feels like that Navi engine is up and running.
The momentum is firmly in favor of Navi, winning 8 of the last 10 rounds, and they are looking to continue it. NPL has been having himself a game. Over 100 ADR right now, sitting at 15 kills. It's been a pretty rocky road for this guy thus far at Blast, even going back to the World Final, but maybe he's finding his footing. A little bit consistency would be great for a Navi team that has great expectations for the season, but I don't know if anybody thought they would be up to speed just yet.
It's very hard to fit any new member into a team. It just usually takes a while, so I think the fact that it started off kind of okay, it's already a good sign. And Blade said in an early interview, you know, that they were going to get it to after Katowice. That's when we're going to get a real chance to see what NPL could really do. And obviously, if Blade says that, I think most people would be fools to try and question it. He does have an insane track record, so I'm going to be on board with that. 35 seconds as they're starting to at least peek into top mid. The bomb is still at top banana, though, so keep an eye on that. because it means Navi have a trick up their sleeve, and it looks like a B-split right now with only 24 seconds. Looked like Rez might almost get caught off guard. A little bit of an HE, but no one is around that corner. We're down to 17 seconds, and a beautiful couple of headshots ring up for the Swedish player. Electronic and Simple, though, they bring it back with a couple of their own, and the bomb is going to get planted behind it with just 8 seconds on the clock. That's very scary. The retake is already on, and Max the run and gun to bring down Electronic. And maybe there is a shot here for NIP to recover this very chaotic round. Simple and Perfecto, they're in strong positions. This crossfire, it doesn't seem like they can beat it, and that's because they can't. Simple takes care of all of the rest. What did he find? 4 kills at the end.
It did look like it. Yeah, Simple right there. He's the one that's also playing to actually get to find that first contact, to enable the swing from his teammate, and yet he's just able to do it all by himself. Rez did a good job finding composure in this round. You could see that he was caught unaware of what Navi were going for, but it was Simple that one-upped him at the very end.
Ooh, and Electronic screaming. They're usually very quiet, I feel like, on the Navi side, but some emotion being shown. I appreciate that. Electronic, I'm sure, didn't enjoy the beginning to the game. He really did get beat up a lot at the top of Banana, but he made up for it down the road. NPL, very close bit on the other side. And with Maxter down, that position is compromised for Rez, although shockingly, he's still sticking around. That's actually really surprising.
Very bold from Rez, thinking that he can hold on to that space. Did a good job, but it is Brolin now who is challenged. He's got the 5-7 and not much else. Taken down by Electronic. And Simple actually peeking on top, a bit bold himself, but does seem like this is pretty comfortable still for Navi. Not too much to worry about unless a random shot through the smoke comes about from Head Trick. Yeah, that's gonna be it. All right, 10 rounds for Navi. This is a game that NIP were feeling so good about for the first 9-ish rounds, but man, Navi, they are always a team that is just so tough to finish out, just because if you don't keep yourself at 100%, everybody starts finding their form. Doesn't matter if it's round 5, round 1, round 10. It's going to happen for Navi eventually.
And it must, just to add to that, to make it even worse, once you've experienced it a couple of times and you know it can happen, and then you start to see some of the early symptoms of this happening again, how do you not mentally just fall down that hole? You have to be aware of it without overemphasizing it so that the whole team just drowns in some feeling of, well, here we go again. It's Navi, they're warmed up. Now we can't win the game anymore, because that's what it must feel like at the moment. It's become almost a meme at this point with Navi. Seen it many, many, many times. 10-7. It's a 3-round lead, and NIP just don't have the money to make this too much of an interesting round. So they'll have to sit it out for a little bit more. Very likely going to be 11-7 by the time that NIP can actually begin to defend the second half. I'm very curious how they're going to try and play it, because we saw Navi being very, very passive. I wonder if NIP are going to try and be a bit more aggressive on their CT side, or if they'll go for a similar style.
Yeah. Reminder that they had a very tough... Okay, wait a second. Okay, whoa. Head Trick there with the double, holding onto this space towards apartments. This becomes very awkward for Navi now. They're forcing themselves into this A site. Alexi B right behind that hay cart, and Head Trick, he still has the opportunity to find the jump on them. He's right behind that smoke, but didn't opt to go for it just yet. Biding his time, keeping the numbers advantage, but Alexi B with the off angle, able to strike, taking down Perfecto. It's all up to Simple now. 1 versus 3. It was just pistols for NIP. This was not supposed to be a round that they were able to find, Anders.
What a sick superhero jump from Head Trick. I look forward to seeing the replay, especially the first one. Diving into Boiler and then continuing the fight, getting the double kill. It's all on Simple now to try and recover this round, and his position's been relocated once again. They know it. They can start to rotate around it. A little bit of a swing, and that's tickling him to death out here. Alexi will get the final one, 10-8. And that is a very, very nice steal back, especially from Head Trick.
Oh, yeah. Just those couple of save weapons, the MP9 on Rez, I think the 5-7 here on Head Trick. I mean, or whatever they had still, I mean, that's what made the difference. This slight boost in firepower. If this were just USPs, this round wouldn't have taken place. But great job from Hedrick to push right there, to find the advantage, to make that so uncomfortable for Na'Vi. Okay.
And they need that, especially now that Hampus is not here, because Hampus, I would say, is normally the playmaker, the guy to try something a little bit crazy. So seeing Hedrick do something similar, that's what you need sometimes to win a very unlikely round. All right, so they get into it a round early. They get to steal at least the 1 AK, not much more than that either. Oh, and Simple, though, push through. Broland's on his own behind enemy lines, and he can't get the job done. That 1 kill, I don't think it's going to be enough. It's a nice attempt and an interesting position, but ultimately, the bomb site's fallen, and they can't recover it. This is one of those rounds where, in the first half, Na'Vi was so quick to call the save, and it feels like NIP, a little bit curious. They wanted to stick around. They felt like 3-on-4, maybe we could do it, and that just cost them another rifle at least.
This was a tough one for NIP. Felt like they were so close to coming out with the advantage with that banana control. They had the space, but Perfecto, he was able to sneak past that smoke. There were so many bodies there at the bottom that could spam through from Na'Vi. And it does seem like we're actually recognizing a lot of teams now that are just giving up banana. I think Na'Vi, for example, themselves were so willing to give it up in that first half. And NIP just kind of suffering an unfortunate defeat there. And maybe one that it just does seem like teams like Na'Vi, even G2 sometimes they don't have fight for that space as much anymore.
It's a big risk, and you can tell right here the trouble that comes with it. Even if you have the manpower there, you have the double setup and everything, it could still be hard to stay alive. I don't necessarily mind it if you don't want to be fighting for banana. I'm a huge fan of some of those top banana retakes. You can pop in on the CT side like every once in a while.
Those happen a lot now.
Yeah, and I think those are powerful, right? You can, because the timings could be so random. Because you don't have to do it a set time. You just like, now feels like a decent moment. All right, a little bit of an aid. But all they have are the 2 M4s here. They won the previous round with less.
That's
so
true.
We don't want to count them out, but still.
Definitely a possible round for NIP. Hedrick and Alexi B looking to be tested on this B site. Hedrick, of course, wielding the A1S. Alexi close with the 5.7. They have a good amount of utility too. They could slow this hit, but maybe you don't want to. Sometimes you want to let the T's push in when you have what is building to be a 4-man stack on this side of the map.
That's a really fair point. Yeah, but that you could get more than you wanted from that. Obviously, you buy some time off the clock, but if you force Na'Vi back into the A-bomb site, well, they're thinking about it already. You could see them trying to guess Alexi, searching his soul to figure out where could they be going. And obviously, so far, it's looking like he's made the right call.
4 players here for NIP. Na'Vi, they might just be walking into the stack. They felt enough resistance earlier, and now Maxter on top. He's able to find one. Alexi B pushing on forward, but instantly taken down.
That was close. He had the right angle, seemed like the right aim for it. 3 people, but I'm not sure I love this position inside of the bomb site. Maybe with Maxter playing up here, he could come in just as they're fighting down to the site, but they need to stay alive. He swings pretty wide for it. He's going to be good for the 1 kill and a follow-up as well. 3 in the round for Maxter. This could be enough. And a headshot from Rez. NIP, they do it again with almost no weaponry. They found a way out.
NIP, they're looking better when they're working with weakened weaponry. This is an interesting sight. You'd love to see them be able to put it together on a gun round, but they have to be happy about that. Upsetting Na'Vi in a round where they were actually able to move the offense. That early utility towards Banana, it pushed Na'Vi into a mid-round towards A, and that's where everybody was lying in wait for the Ninjas.
Good triple from Maxter and a good mid-round call for Alexi, getting the read on where they were going after the initial smoke over at the B-bomb site. This round starting with Roland just kind of alone. He's going to get some backup a little bit quickly, though. But this is the last bit of cash for Na'Vi. NIP have a way back in. You said it earlier. It was the CT side last time that really eluded NIP. So far, yeah, it is looking a little bit better. They're doing something.
Oh, there's those retake top banana nades that we were talking about. But Navi able to press on forward because they threw that counter molly. Okay, Alexi B, actually, he's challenging CT. NPL instantly finding the headshot. Simple as well. That was a fairly dry hit from Navi, and they just had a great timing. Electronic is already in their spawn. Hedrick had no idea that this could be possible. That is great stuff from Navi there. That little outplay, that molly on the corner, allowing Electronic to push on forward. NIP probably thought maybe the hit will happen in 5 seconds from then, maybe 10. They would see the nades fly over, but that pace from Navi was blistering.
It was. Everybody getting caught off guard. Alexi, I think, towards CT spawn to begin with, you can tell from the way that he positions the crosshair and how he peeks the corner that he's not quite ready. It is just a little bit of a surprise that they're that close and it's that aggressive. And sometimes that'll do it. Just getting a slightly better timing than what your opponent is expecting. And NIP are playing on hard mode right now. They're winning the rounds that they're not supposed to be winning, and then some of these rounds where they definitely have way better weaponry, they're giving them up.
Yeah, that does tell the story of, I would say, who's just the better gun round team right now. Usually how you would want to measure two teams facing off against each other. Frustrations, though, for NIP. Not unexpected when you lose a round like that.
Yeah, I'm sure Alexi, the second it goes bad in that B bomb site, he knows everything. He's obviously got the whole download of what went wrong, but it's just too late. Nothing you could really do about it at that point in time. 12 rounds for Navi after that one. And they just keep moving towards that 16th round. That's what they're looking for. NIP on the other side of it. I mean, the basic setup was probably fine for NIP. They just got shocked by the timing.
Yeah, Electronic is a cunning banana player. He is really taking a hold of that position. He's always been good on it on the offense. Now Navi, he also is playing there on the defense. Used to be Boomage's spot.
True.
But he's actually really taking a liking to it.
Oh, that looked like it should have been a one fight for Simple, but somehow it's Alexi and Standard. And there is a 3-man setup, but they are expecting that Navi could try and put some pressure on here once again. Leaves a massive gap towards Arch. So I appreciate the fact that Hedrick again is playing that slightly forward corner, that they're not playing that deep in the A bomb site, that they know absolutely nothing. Because if they lose all control here of middle, then probably this B defense has to be broken up a bit.
The strong side says B for NIP. 3 players over there. We are seeing some nades towards middle from Navi, but it's not pulling a rotation. NIP are keeping this defense strong towards B, and this will play in their favor.
Some more nades just picked up now. Maxter up on the boost, and right underneath him, the pistol will do the job. Alexi's dead, but he was low on health already. A shutdown kill from Brolan with the 5-7. He's going to get 2 of them, in fact. And at least it made it a 2-on-2. It's still a really good entry from Navi. They're going to be happy they break through the 3-man stack to get the bomb plant. That's a success. How can we do this? A couple of grenades. Electronic actually is a bit low on health. Hedrick can still wallbang those boxes if you really feel like it. He almost dies to the nade outright, but he's here and live in the back. And Bit in the other corner. This is going to be hard to get rid of them. NIP, they're running out of time really fast. Smoke on top of the bomb, but not a problem for Bit. It's going to be Hedrick to try and do the same thing, and he will suffer the exact same fate. So, good recovery from Navi at the end of the round.
Just never had the time on that retake. But this is a surprise that NIP were not able to hold on, I would say. The way that Maxter wasn't able to find a kill despite being in a very powerful position, that's got to sting a little bit, because you played 3 people B, you even did some extra nade damage on top of it. You have the crossfires right there. Not even through a bad CT smoke, and yet they were able to just win with firepower getting in. That's got to be concerning for NIP. If you're tactically outplaying your opponent but still unable to come up with the victories, then you know that it's the gun work that needs improvement.
And that probably is not going to come from this round. They really have almost no guns. It's upgraded P250, and that's about it. 13-9. So these rounds are super close. I mean, at least it's different in that sense from last time. It feels like plenty of opportunity right now for NIP to get rounds of their own. They just are falling short in some of the critical moments. Rotating around, but realistically, this should be a fairly easy round for Navi to win.
Can't really imagine it going poorly for Navi, especially when Simple's able to find the entry onto Rez. I think what's most curious is who's going to pick up the frags for Navi here. Looks like Electronic presented an opportunity, so he'll be able to clean up. He got that anti-eco ace earlier.
Yeah.
And he's actually sitting at the top of the scoreboard now with 20 kills. On the other side for NIP, top fragger is Rez with 13. Yeah, they're just... The individuals are not matching up right now for NIP.
I agree. Unfortunately, because it's not just Rez. Right behind him, Bit at 17, Simple at 17, MPL at 19.
Yeah.
That is so stacked compared to what we're seeing on the NIP side. They need somebody to be the hero to wake up, or this will be done fairly quickly, at least on Inferno. It's the best of 3, of course. Electronic going to be needing to charge, and like you pointed out, he is an expert at playing this position. Doesn't care about any of the nades being thrown at him. He just wanted the control, and he's got it. It's forced a fair few nades out of NIP too.
Okay, we got the retake top banana nades. Electronic playing with the boost here, recognizing at this moment that there's nobody that's contesting that space. But the rotation's coming in for the Ninjas. Maxter is making his way on over. He's got a couple of flashes. This could be imperative in the chances for the defense on this side. But we've seen them have 3 players here before, and they weren't able to hold. So they really have to do better if they want to extend this game.
And it feels like they're going to be doing that because of this incredibly forward position in the middle. Rez all the way up there with Hetrick behind him. They have brought Maxter back in the meantime, so Curious, 2-man defense in B, and they're really, really far back in the bomb site. I don't know if I love this.
And they have no nades. That's gotta hurt. Because the full exec is not easy to counter already. You would love to have something to help you out.
Well, that might help just a tiny bit, but it still is down to the defense. Roland on his own against the entire squad of Navi, and that will not be good enough. Electronic will bring him down. The bomb is going to be planted behind it. And Navi looking for a 15th round. Even if it starts with Rez getting the kill, that B defense is getting wiped out over and over and over again. Simple out on the hunt. And even if he runs into the M4 on the other side, you can tell NIP are so far away by the time they're in a position to even begin the retake. So right now, if they want to do it, it just has to be absolutely flawless. It has to be a series of instant headshots, and as soon as it's not, you can see Hetrick realizing it's done.
With no kit, there is no opportunity. Hetrick tries to keep himself alive. He'll get the kill onto NPL. Should be able to escape. Perfecto and Electronic, they're both actually dead to the bomb, so that's something that NIP can... You actually can't really even be that happy about it.
No!
No, actually, I can't even make that statement, so... 15-9, Navi, they have looked like the dominant team. If you remove the first 9 rounds of this game, it has been lights out. So, 15 of the last 19 have gone to Navi.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's a tough one, especially given the fact that the way that NAP has won a couple of those rounds have felt very lucky. Like, just has to be said. They were just on pistols, they were running around with them, nailing people with running 5.7s. You'd want to see, for your own confidence as a team, NIP, if you could win a gun round. Got one more chance to do that on this half.
And normally if you win those rounds, I mean, those are the really low percentage rounds that you pick those up, you should be springboarded into a better position. I'm seeing a lot of these head shakes coming out from NIP as well. You see them sort of, just the frustration, sort of feels like something is not really up and running at the moment on the NIP side. Which is definitely frustrating. Roland, good kill on that one. Electronic, don't know if there was a flash that never arrived or if he just dry peeked it, but either way, that's an easy enough kill.
This has to be a conversion for the Ninjas. 5 versus 4. Just not going to look any easier than this, or any better than this. Some nades And this is a pretty interesting setup between Alexi and Brolin. Rez hanging out towards that short side, and Navi, they're still figuring out where it is that they want to go. They have 4 alive, 30 seconds left, and they are making their way back towards B. This is really the only thing they had to be happy about, this banana control, and so they're going for the B exec.
And they've won it so many times, it makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Even if it's really simplistic, why not just try and do it? Another good opening against Alexi. He was up on the box with the SMG, and now the question is, how much damage can Brolin do up here? Good little boost, but he's going to be found before he can even really escape. The bomb is dropped with 4 seconds, and that kills enough. They don't need to fight any longer. Hetrick will still get the job done, but they would have run out of time either way. But honestly, that is still way too close. If Navi had another 4 or 5 seconds in that round, maybe they can actually find a way to have a real fight with Hetrick and win it.
More time, or just hitting the CT smoke. That also would have given them a chance to plant the bomb, and Hetrick wouldn't have been able to find those 2 kills. Getting into post plant with Electronic and Simple is, even if they're on low HP, they can win that. So that's NIP. Again, I mean, they've got to be pretty happy about that. They won a gun round, but it's them capitalizing off of a mistake from Navi. Okay, early nade though towards Banana. No strong contests from either team. We saw that Ninjas were able to win off the back of a Brolin pick at this area, but this time around, he eats a nade. 57 HP left for a man that's so important on these B anchors.
If I had to try to pinpoint some of my frustration for NIP, it's due to the fact that whenever in... Oh, another one. That's very dangerous.
No.
Some of the time when they're in these positions, they could get to overtime from here, right? This is totally doable. Not that much money on Navi. I want to see NIP summon some strength in this lineup to power through. I want to see NIP find that. It feels like more often than not they don't. They kind of just get blown up. Kind of like this. NPL on the double entry. 2 headshots and alone defending it with absolutely no shot. It's Alexi, but always doing a fine job. Picks up the AK and it's close. He almost outlines Perfecto with that spray. And the backup is being intercepted by Bit in the archway. What a tough position now. 1 versus 3. Hetrick trying to push through. Perfecto will take him down. 16 to 10. Navi, a slow start, but a classic comeback from them into this first map. You've got to say, looking like it could be a repeat of last time here for NIP.
That was not the defense you wanted to see from the Ninjas on their own map pick. Obviously, the next one will be Mirage, but Navi, they look like after a little bit of a hiccup there at the beginning, they put the pieces together and they were the stronger team. I think that is a very safe call.
Yeah, definitely. And NPL, I mean, still with a really good performance. That's encouraging. It's early days still, but you want to see him feel comfortable in the lineup. We've got James and Blade down on the stage.
Blade, another victory over the Ninjas this time around. A few more rounds their way, Maxter comes in. But for you guys, CT side still seems to be a bit of this slow start we're getting off to, and then they come back into it. Why do you guys keep getting off to these slow starts? What's missing?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's a slow start. I think in Inferno it's such a map when it's like Dust 2 actually. For example, if a team can execute properly B side, it's really hard to retake it, even like 3 versus 2. And the same, I think, on Inferno, the rotation is really long, and if you make good calls, good executions, you cannot retake the side. And we couldn't retake A and B several times. Then we changed a little bit our game and tried to be more aggressive. And then it worked.
It definitely did. Now, I want to touch on one thing. It seems to be on your CT side as well. We're seeing less movement from the players individual. Is this a plan? Is this an idea based off your role and position changes? Or is this just something that is missing right now? Because normally we see Sasha go around and take a lot more space with the AWP.
I don't know. In Inferno, it's really hard to move around. He was trying to find... There was not like specific... game plan, not to rotate or not to move around. I think he's just playing his game. He wants to wait for somebody like from this spot, then from another spot, and overall I think we were like more dynamic than usual. I think Banana and Nipple was praying like a corner several times. So, yeah.
All right, we'll see how it goes going forward. Blade, thank you for the info.
Now, it took a second for NAVI to warm up, but once that fire got ignited, it absolutely took over the entirety of the server. Highlights from BIT, heroics from MPL, and of course, Simple showing up. A great rebound after what was actually a great start from NIP.
A true replica, almost, of the first game we saw between these two teams on Inferno as well. NAVI getting off to a slow start. NIP looking solid, looking like they can make a competitive game out of it, winning a couple of close rounds, and you think to yourself, okay, there's maybe a conversation to be had here. Maybe we have a good game of Counter-Strike ahead of us. As soon as we got into the second half, it was more of the same as we saw in the first game. NAVI miles ahead, and in reality, it was never really a close game. They just pretended it was.
I agree with you. I think NAVI took a little bit of a while to wake up, snoozing that alarm a little bit. BIT was the main point of defense on the A side, but we have to give props to Electronic and Perfecto on B, who were tested time and time again, because there was a moment in this game, as we aptly see on the round history, where it felt like NIP were in full control.
Yeah, let's take a bit of a deeper dive into that one, because we have Danny with a moment to break down from the side of NIP at the beginning.
NIP had a really strong start on Inferno. I want to break down one of the rounds that kind of illustrate this. So it's this round right here, round 5, very beginning. We're going to see Alexi B. He throws a front sight smoke. Now this smoke isn't quite so common, but you'll see it sometimes. Now this sight smoke, what it does is it kind of denies vision for players who are playing towards the sight area, anyone playing towards spools, and ultimately it creates a path for players to kind of come in without these players in the sight being able to challenge. Now, what you'll see here that's interesting is that NIP, they don't actually go off the smoke right away. They're actually going to wait a little bit with the smoke. And instead, they're going to take a slightly different timing. The timing that you'll see here instead is that when Brolan comes out, it's as the smoke starts to fade. As the smoke starts to fade, he gets to this pool position. And what that does ultimately for NIP is that as the smoke starts to fade, it kind of creates this grouping where two players can kind of cross here towards this water position just before the smoke fades, and then two players can stay here as the smoke fades, so that now they kind of have this two grouping where this side here can kind of focus on the left side, this side here can focus on the right, and you'll see how this pans out. From Max's point of view, uses that smoke to path here towards that water position, able to find Perfecto, and then you'll see that head trick as that smoke fades, he's then able to find the player towards spools. And you look at this from the Navi's player's point of view, see that for Electronic, that smoke, it makes it hard for him to spot players coming in towards that water position. And as well, as he tries to peek, then the smoke fades, he gets taken out. For Perfecto, as the players are crossing through, he can't actually spot the players coming through, so by the time he kind of peeks towards his left side, he's in a disadvantageous fight. So some of the details went their way for NIP at the start, but that's really all they had.
Yeah, excellent insight from the Mahone zone, making it very evident that NIP were the ones who came into this one awake, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, and their executes were tidy up, as Mahone pointed out. But I just wanted to quickly touch on NAVI and maybe their lack of rotations or too slow of rotations, because throughout this whole CT half, it felt like it was either going to be Electronic and Perfecto having that wall defense, or the exec would work for NIP. That great example brought in by Mahone. For 20 seconds, they're in pressure on B, and BIT is still just halfway CT spawn. Even though they had full bracket control, full vision, they were very, very slow in rotating, and I think that's one of the main reasons why NIP got up to a good start.
And then we move on from that round, and then NAVI, I mean, the Beast just simply woke up, and they made it difficult for NIP to even string 2 rounds back-to-back.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't for 18 rounds straight. They didn't win 2 rounds straight back-to-back, and you can't win a game of Counter-Strike against a team like NAVI if that's not the case, let alone make it competitive. NPL having a great showing. I think we need to highlight him, give some credit towards him. We talked about it on Inferno so far in this tournament. He's been having a decent showing. You see in the scoreboard here as well, up with the top dogs. Electronic, as you said, locked down that bomb site completely together with Perfecto. So there was a lot of positives to take away. And one thing I note once more, it's not like Simple had a bad game, but it wasn't all about him. And this is the 3rd game in a row now. We're talking about NAVI, and we're not necessarily highlighting Simple to be the difference maker. That's a good thing for me. Right now, NAVI is shown to be a mature team that is still highly competitive, despite Simple having a once-in-a-blue moon struggle some period, right? As soon as he's going to be back to his best, we're going to see more raw firepower, and we're going to see more of these minor mistakes that is being made by NAVI, masked by the fact that you have Simple on your team.
There's a margin for sure. I think Simple had a strong second half. I think once we moved on to the T side, he started being way more impactful. I also think that the action kind of got away from him on the CT side. How many times did we see NIP just execute on B and Simple is holding short? So I don't think he got activated that much. In fact, I haven't seen him miss a whole lot of shots. That's where I want to leave it. T side though, he was much better. And you're right, we could name pretty much anybody from NAVI, and I could give you 1 or 2 good rounds that they had.
I agree with what you're saying, right? We didn't see much Simple action, but that's something you were alluding to as well in the beginning. The fact that he's not really roaming around that much. He's very static compared to what he used to. He likes to be up in apps. He likes to be in middle. He likes to make some aggressive plays. Feels like he's lost a bit of that confidence on the CT side. And often what you do is that you you go back to your fundamentals, you just hold your position, you do the basic stuff, and then you're right, then an opponent team can kind of like move around you if they want to, and that's kind of what happened for Simple right here. I agree, T-side was phenomenal, but CT side again struggles for Simple.
I do want to move on to talk about the next round of Mirage. Obviously, Navi's pick once again coming into things. We heard from that interview with Simple earlier. Blade maybe was thinking of going in another direction. Simple said, nah, let's go for this one more time. Let's get some revenge from NIP because they were the ones to be taking that map last time in what was an incredibly close overtime. Do you think it's going to be different now, obviously, with NIP bringing a different roster into things?
I imagine Navi's in a much better position than the first time around, honestly, just because they've played already once, they have a little bit of a copy on what's going to happen, and because Hampus this time isn't going to be here. I also believe that NPL is going to do a better showing than he had the first time around. It was, I guess, a little bit cumbersome for him to handle that connector position. Now he's got one game, he's got a couple of experiences down there, so I'm hoping to see a better NPL, and I think Navi's in prime position.
I think Simple said it in an interview, right? We want to play Mirage again. I told Blade I want to play Mirage again because I have no idea how we lost that game the first time around. I think NIP is in for a rough run. Yeah, when Simple's got his mind set on something, you sure as hell hope you aren't on the receiving end of it. Unfortunately for NIP, they are. In this one, it's going to be Mirage. Once again, they were able to take it in a very close OT last time around. Let's see if they can replicate the same fate.
We are back once again, and what you're about to see is the first kill that Maxter is going to get playing Tier 1 opponents really ever, and it's against Simple. That's not bad. That's got to count for something. He actually did pretty well, I've got to say, but NIP as a whole most certainly did not.
The sobering reality is that obviously NIP weren't able to walk away with the victory. Maxter actually had some moments. He had a couple multi-frag rounds here and there. It's not that we're really upset with his performance. It's more just that we are seeing that what he did in the context of NIP not finding that much success it looks a little bit worse. If this were an easier opponent, I think Maxter would have had a great day. His form looked good.
It did. It's more like that. There's something about the mentality of something that goes wrong on NIP. It feels like when things are on the upward trajectory, it's fine. They look good. They look comfortable. But as soon as any kind of pressure is applied, something just goes horribly wrong. And I don't know what it is, but it's definitely very frustrating to watch. Hopefully, that will change now as we are heading into the second map. We're on Mirage. And it's NIP on the CT side with NAVI on the T side. And already just a peek there from Simple Electronic. That seems very, very risky. I don't know if he realizes, but he might be in a lot of trouble if he keeps doing that. Bomb is on the other side of the map, though. So Electronic is, on some level, keeping 3 people at the A-bomb side, which is good news.
Just feigning some presence there is Electronic. That'll likely keep Ninjas in Pajamas set in this 3-2 setup. We see that Maxter is holding the flash for Alexi B. This is a really powerful one as the players approach through the apartment, so it's a great pop flash. One to take with you.
Wouldn't you wish, though, that Alexi had a dualies instead of the USP if you're going to be relying on that flashbang? Because you can hit the flashbang and still hit very few kills. Oh, he's pushing forward as well. That's dangerous, but a very crisp shot. That's well done. Here comes the flash to set it up, and it's slowing them down. It actually gets a little bit of more damage. Gets a chance to reload as well, although now we are getting closer to the bomb site. Maxter's helping out now beyond the flashbang. A couple of great headshots to make sure that Navi will never enter the bomb site. It's all on Simple with 35 seconds and a 1 versus 5 to start Mirage with.
I just love how composed Alexi B looks in that situation. We'll see what Simple's able to do. Never want to count him out too early in these kinds of rounds. Finds the headshot onto Brolin. With 20 seconds, likely has to make his way up connector. And there is a smoke right there, but actually goes for the window option. There's still no way to make this. 10 seconds left. Alexi B picks up his 3rd on the round, and the setup between him and Maxter working out beautifully.
And I think, you know, credit obviously to Alexi and Maxter to start the round with, but also just the rest of it, you know, being too aggressive in that what was a 1 versus 4 at the end. I think that's a good sign, because this is the kind of moment exactly where if you just run at Simple thinking, yeah, of course we can overpower him. There is, you know, maybe it's a 1 in a million for everybody else, but a 1 in 1,000 for Simple to do it. That's still pretty scary.
A call on some of the teams I would play on was just losable. The round is still losable.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, in a way, it seems a little bit negative, but it makes sure that everybody just kind of plays a little bit tighter.
You know, whenever I play, I try and use sarcasm and, you know, reverse psychology to remind me. I try and tell people, find a way to lose it. I try and tell, like, just everyone one at a time against him. Try and give him an opportunity.
Yes.
So people feel really stupid if they do it. That's my way of some leadership.
Not only did they mess up in the round, but it's like, you didn't even recognize I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how dense can you be? That's a way to just passively aggressively just get your teammates in order. So
it's a, you know, it's something you work at, you know, develop it over some time, and it's about as friendly as I can get. It's much worse when I play Dota, I guarantee you. Maxter, good position with the MP9, and that's fine. If the MP9 is the only casualty for the round, we're not going to be complaining.
It's no big deal. No sweat on the brows of NIP. Doing quite well for themselves early on here. But this is where the real test begins, of course. There was money saved for Navi. They will be purchasing into this upcoming round. This is nice from Rez. I like that he found that kill onto NPL. That almost just felt very fortunate, but I want to give him just credit for the MP9 control there. That second kill.
Okay, well, there's an early test, though. Navi able to pick up rifles to no one's surprise. Rez flashed through behind the smoke. That's a knockout. Bit literally never saw it coming. But MPL, I actually think that's a cool idea to try and take space, because you know they just had that little skirmish in the middle, so sometimes that can work, but this time it backfires even worse. Grenade bounces off, but it doesn't hit Perfecto. The follow-up nades most certainly will, though, and it's all on Simple now again in another 1 versus 5.
We'll see if he's
got time.
Yeah, this time he does. Minute 15 left. He's trying to figure out what's going on. He's talking a lot to his teammates right now. I think he's really trying to understand the positions that the opponents were in. And we'll see if he's able to put the pieces together. If there's anybody who really could use that info to the fullest effect, of course, it is Simple. And he's just waiting for a mistake first. Really wants to see if Brolin goes for a peek right there. But everybody from NIP playing very safe angles. And ooh, you might get an opportunity. It's close.
It's so close. Unbelievably close. I feel like he must have been able to see him a couple of times, but it might be hard to register. Rez will find him instead. It's a flawless round for NIP. And now, a much better start. They also deny the bomb plant, so this is good.
Right. We're seeing a similar start to what we found in the previous game. But you were talking about it, the way that it does seem like NIP, once they start facing some resistance, they can crumble. I would equate it to a Jenga tower that has 7 pieces plus removed. It's just teetering there, and it just takes a little tip, a little push.
It's like the Jenga route.
Yeah, and then it's all over.
Okay, yeah, solid structure at the beginning. Everyone's excited.
Yep.
But then slowly but surely.
DJL is the box that you use to stack it. Lining it up in place.
Metaphor is getting deeper and deeper.
Yep.
Nice find from Rez, although they only have pistols on the other side. But yeah, I don't know. So they have to change it. They have to, if they could, go from the Jenga tower to the Mahjong pyramid.
Yeah.
Way more stable.
It's hard to just knock that down under any circumstances.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, good analysis of the current NIP situation.
Good tabletop metaphors.
We'll invoice them later for the help that we're providing.
Yes. Okay, Rez, great angle for him. He's looking pretty sharp right now, 6-0. And he has a chance to make it 8. Double peek from top and bottom mid. Bit is able to find the first kill. Rez wants to stand his ground, but recognizes without the help of his teammate, he should evacuate the premises. Brolin, nice one tap though, making this so much easier for him and the rest of his team. And Bit, little sneaky play right there, but it has been spotted. Alexi B to close it out.
The kind of mechanics that we're seeing a bit up from Rez and that one tap from Brolin, those are the kind of things I want to see in way more NIP rounds. I don't want to be excited about the 1 in 7 rounds where I see, ooh, there we go. I want to see it way more sort of consistently as well. I think that's got to be key to this. We know they can do it. We know they have it. So, nicely done. Yeah, that's very smooth. Okay. There's some clapping, some high fives going on, and a 4-0 lead. And some timing to take down Electronic. That's actually great. Roll in on the other side. Worried that there was going to be more spam coming through perhaps, but so far he's doing all right.
Initial mid presence taken down from Navi. Electronic obviously will be calling from the grave. Not a great start for him. 0-5, and his team might be 0-5 after the end of this one. But there's still a lot of time to work with for this offense. A lot of nades too. And it does seem like they want to go for a slightly late mid control. They still have a player in Perfecto lurking towards that A side, so you would really expect some sort of A conversion here in the next 45 seconds. And with this double lower presence, they just want to make sure everything is clear.
Taking the time with it, aren't they? Rez felt like he almost overextended there, and he might get hunted down, and timing couldn't have been better. Bit able to pick it up, Alexi. Fight that he should be winning. And that's going to slow it down once again. And it kind of keeps this round in NIP's control. 4 versus 3, 30 seconds. And now it feels like Navi, they don't have a lot of choices. They feel like they just have to go for it. They have a lot of grenades, though, which could be interesting if they can make their breakthrough. 2 people at the bomb site. Smoke up to try and deny any Molotovs from coming out. And Maxter, though, excellent control. Taking 2 and a chance for a 3rd. NPL, he'll hit the headshot, but there's only 10 seconds left. And he should be, and he will be losing this round for sure. Alexi taking his sweet time with it. But NIP, not just winning the round, but keeping 3 people alive. That was encouraging.
That was very nice stuff from Maxter. The way he's able to play right there around the van. Obviously, the B anchor roll is a tough one. Feels like you're not a lot of nothing happened until suddenly everything is going on. And he was able to withstand most of this pressure there with those pair of frags. Early timeout being taken from Navi. They have to recognize what it is that's going so wrong for them. But scoreboard is looking sharp for some of these ninjas. Rez already 8-1. Alexi B, the opposite 007. He's 7-0-0.
What does that mean? What's the reverse 007? It's like an actual spy that...
Yeah, I mean, it's 700. It's... I don't know the James Bond lore well enough to construct anything here.
I've kind of lost track myself, I won't lie. Although you feel like the kind of person that would have read some of the original, you know, like some of the stuff. Maybe someone to get to one day?
Can't say I have, actually.
Not yet.
Yeah, no.
I feel like...
I do like Ian Fleming's drink creation, though. The Vesper Martini. That's something that I know he came up with, other than the shaken not stirred part.
All right, so on the one hand, claiming not to know the 007 lore, but then actually having deep knowledge of specific drinks inside of the universe.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Something worth trying. If you are of age, of course.
True. 5-0. Again, I want to celebrate this because this is great for NIP, but I just have this feeling in the back of my mind that we've been here before. We've seen this happen already, and we know that all it takes is a slight slip up in the plan, and suddenly NAVI just find a way back anyway. So I need NIP to prove it. I need for them to hold my hand through this game and just make me feel safe in what they're doing.
Take you on a romantic stroll to a victory.
That's exactly right. It could even be a martini at the end of it if things go really well.
We'll see. Rez has an opportunity to find a couple of kills, but just by maintaining this space, he's actually going to provide his team a lot of information about what it is that NAVI intends to do. The smokes here for the CTs are still looking very strong in terms of defensive positioning, and that's a great self-setup for Rez, but he is taken down by Bit, and Brolin slots into his space. Yeah, still a lot of information for NIP despite losing that player.
I agree, that was actually a really cool idea. Lexi has the right mental image at the moment. Maxter's going to be setting up a timely smoke. That will actually expire fairly late in the round. He won't have more really to hold it back with. The only thing they have is Hetrick, but he's miles away with the AWP and the Molotov, so that's not going to be a help. It feels like it will be him and Alexi trying for the crossfire, and NAVI don't have that much to break it up with. Flash goes out, but this is still a good defensive position for NIP. Alexi, he'll get the first one. He had the right idea, and Maxter now, it's all up to him. He's going to get traded right away. 9 seconds left, and the bomb is going to be running straight on there. 2 versus 2 now. Let's NIP see if they can deny the round. No, NAVI, once they're in the game, then they tend to stay that way. And Simple boosted up. Hard position to clear this one. The spray, it is good, and Hetrick, he couldn't get the follow-up AWP shot, and now it might be better to walk away. They're low on health, but with the AWP, it might not make a difference.
That'll be it. NAVI find their first, despite the setup looking like it was going to work out there. On that B site, it actually is broken open, and Bit and Simple, they're able to connect. Hetrick, he does find the kill onto Simple. He keeps his AWP alive too, so the money, it's still okay for NIP. They'll be able to buy in the next round. And okay, he actually takes everything away. That's actually very impactful. There are several players with NAVI that have under $4,000. And so even keeping one gun alive would have made a huge difference for them. And we're going to see a pretty scrappy buy despite the round victory for NAVI coming up. But overall, just a really solid site hit from NAVI. Just good trading into it. And that post-plant position that Simple found himself in, that boost right there, it's usually good for one. It's just such a strong off angle.
Good mechanics as well, a good jumping from Hetrick in the previous round to make that possible. The silent fall down, just everything very nice. It's an aesthetically pleasing round for him. 5-1, and
look at the guns for NAVI. 4 Galils.
Oh dear.
It's just not what you want to be taking in this round. If you want to string some momentum together, you would love to see some more premium rifles.
And they've been testing that B hallway quite a bit, and Maxter's been doing pretty much okay. But I guess it also makes sense if you know that he's going to be anchoring the B bomb site, and he's a stand-in, it does make sense to try and really test it, just to make sure that he does feel a little bit of pressure over on that side.
Yeah, Simple said this could actually be a little bit confusing just because of the stand-in situation. They knew Hampus played towards Cat, and it's actually Alexi that's slotted in there, and Alexi's moving away from that anchor spot. He's been playing there a lot, but all right. A hit, little explosion, but Brolin and Maxter are able to find a couple kills. Brolin still, he's being burned alive right now, forced into the action, and Rez is able to find that return on a Perfecto. This becomes very confusing for Navi to put together now.
Yeah, head trick taken up at the back of the B bomb site with the AWPs. That's why Maxter was out here. Electronic, the timing is godlike, and he nearly gets a double. Going to be Simple instead now. 1 versus 2 as he's just now putting down the bomb. I don't know if he knows where head trick is, but he's walking out in the open like he doesn't really worry about it, so seems risky. Now he's up on the Tetris box, looking right over. This is dangerous. He might be in a very powerful position here. Flash into the sky, but doesn't really touch him at all. And the gun barrel showing easy pre-fire coming up from Simple. Now one more target on the other side. See if Hetrick can find the shot with the M4, and he can. That's such a shallow peek. 3 kills for Simple, but not enough to save the round. It's NIP right back into it.
Very good attempt there from Simple, but not enough. Head trick able to close it out, and he's looking pretty good in this game thus far. They are able to withstand that round. This is a really interesting double setup between Brolin and Maxter, just pushing on forward. You really think that Simple's lining this one up, but he didn't have the HP to work with. Could have maybe taken a different option on his peak if he did, but the 50-50 won there by Head trick. 6-1 for him. And everyone is doing pretty well, I'd say, for Ninjas. Brolin obviously just 2-3, but can't really complain.
Now again, the numbers are with them. Everything is trending in the right direction. Navi are struggling to do much of anything. Simple's got 6 kills, Bit has got 4, but beyond that, there's not much in the lineup that's encouraging for the T side. Gonna put some speed behind this one. Maxter trying to smoke it off and just try and stay safe back here. Flashes landing everywhere on the bomb site. He's created a little bit of a space for himself, and he could have maybe found that shot, but instead, they lose Head trick as well on top of it. 3 versus 3. And they're on the site. If they find Alexi, this might be another round for Navi, although he's doing a very good job staying hidden in the corner. They might have forgot about him, in fact, and Simple. He remembered. That is a very good kill. They line up in the back. And Rez maybe could have taken both of them. Brolin, one good Molotov back here, and Bit could be dead, and it could be a quick 1 versus 1. We'll see if he could slide into it. He's got the right idea. Some shots being taken through the bench, but he's not quite found the target yet. And now, the question is, could they actually find some post-plant positions here? Navi, they feel a bit exposed. Molotov. Yeah, it'll force Brolin this way, but that probably doesn't matter. And Brolin doesn't look like he wants to throw any grenades. He just wants to solve this with the gun. But Bit, he is quick. He swings wide, and he takes him down.
Oh, one more bullet. That's all Brolin needed to win that one. So close. Almost hits the spray transfer. But you could see, as soon as Navi recognized the position of Brolin, both of those players playing those faraway pillars right in the back, so they're able to play off each other to minimize the chances he's able to pull off those heroics. This was a really interesting exec and defense, though. I really thought that Alexi B was going to get away with something playing around those smokes, but he stayed alive, bought time for the rotations, but it is Navi that come out on top.
Frustrating as well for Alexi getting caught in there. It felt like if he could have been allowed to be there for a couple of seconds more, he could have re-entered the fight for the bomb site. Timeout called, as NIP probably would like an opportunity to reset everything. Could be one of those points in the game where some nerves start to get into it. They feel a bit nervous, and suddenly Navi revitalize themselves. So I can appreciate this kind of a timeout just to make sure that everyone is still on board with this plan.
This is how DJL was using his timeouts in the first map. Those couple of early rounds that Navi were winning, he kept calling timeouts immediately after him. You saw that it was able to kind of maintain some composure for the beginning, but it really slipped away from them after a while. So just wants to get ahead of the curve. Really he had a game plan going into this, how he wanted to use his timeouts.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. If you know that that streak that you build at the beginning for some of these NIP games, that's what's going to carry you forward. You need to keep it going. That, though, is a very aggressive push for Mars, and it's simple. Who is on the receiving end? Maxter with the opening.
Really cool idea there between the two of them. They're shifting Maxter's position around. That might actually make Navi think about what's going on for NIP, because Headtrick is playing B now with a scout, so another double push.
This is sick because they don't have the nades as well to hold the bomb site.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they're just going for these walk double pushes, so at the very least they can trade, and this might actually work out for them beautifully. Electronic has the bomb in Palace. This is so worrying, because even if they deal with Brolin, Maxter is here to secure the explosives.
That is very active, very cool round from NIP. All of the pressure on Navi to try and recover this one, and Maxter is doing God's work inside of the Palace. It's 3 kills on him right now. NPL all alone with no Bond and no teammates either. 30 seconds, a little bit of a good spray. Beautiful headshots. He's doing so much damage, but ultimately, it should be too late. There should be no way to get back into this. Maxter just has to stay cool up here. 1 bullet should take care of NPL, and he's got about 18 seconds. He'll be shot in the back by Alexi and NIP. That is a well put together round.
Really like how proactive they were towards that A site. Maxter doing very well in these sort of positions. I'm sure they're just coming up with these kinds of plans on the fly. Just want to make sure that they make the most of the weapons that they have, because you mentioned it earlier, they didn't really have too much in terms of utility. You can't set up those pops towards mid. You can't really contest the control in some of those bigger areas. So those kind of walk pushes, very pragmatic from NIP.
7-2. Yeah, it is. You just have to play the cards that you're dealt, and if you don't have all of the nades to lock down in a bomb site, or even go for a retake at the A bomb site, then maybe it's better to fight before you get into that position. Again, some of the aggressive movement, but this time it does backfire just a bit. NPL picks up a kill, and you can see he's baiting out the shot. Alexi's realizing the danger, and he's going to make an escape, but they've given over the AK.
He gave a lot of respect to NPL. Didn't want to get jiggled out, didn't want to be taken down. Could have found an equalizer, but NPL, he passes the AK back to Simple, and he's considering the contest versus Alexi, as is Alexi too, but looks like we're going to see a push on the A side once again. This time it's Rez and Brolin who are finding this space, but there's nobody here at ramp. In fact, it's Perfecto at Palace, and these players are making their way around each other. This can get very confusing for Navi in the late round if they go for the A convert.
Could be confusing for NIP as well, depending on how this plays out. I don't even know what's going to happen right now. 35 seconds. It still feels like they might try and go for that connector. They've got NPL who's been making noise over at the B bomb site, and it looks like NIP are about to crunch what they think is an incoming B attack, but which is really more of a play towards this position. Rez might be the only defender that could stop this from happening. 19 seconds on the clock. If he gets the first kill up in the Palace, then there is a way. Wait, he's not seeing it. Now he finally is. Took some sweet time. Good one kill and a good follow-up headshot to bring down Simple. 8 seconds. That's the bomb in the back. And Rez, he's done it. 4 kills with the MP9. That could have gone horribly wrong. What a weird round.
That was so strange. Rez didn't spot Perfecto lurking out of Palace, and Perfecto jumps up, says, hey, look at me. But Rez is still able to find all of those kills. He is looking really sharp in this game thus far. This spray, I am really, really impressed. This right here just mows them all down. They desperately have to find some space on that bomb site for a plant. And it wasn't the biggest investment from Navi, but Rez was still able to come up huge.
It's a classic scenario as well where you get information and it actually betrays you.
Yes.
NIP are thinking, we've pushed into T-spawn all this way, they have to be in the B hallways, they just have to. And all it took was a little slip, they just passed each other in the middle, and it could have absolutely gone horribly wrong. So sometimes when you act on false information, it can lead to some pretty terrible outcomes. Not this time though. 8-2, and it's another just rock solid start for NIP. It's hard not to get swept up in it. You want to just get carried along because this is looking really good. Rez has got 16 kills. He's in the middle, ready and waiting, and this time Brolin on the opening, finding his 6th kill of the game. Bit will take, or actually Electronic will get that kill. And they're a little bit quicker this time. Moving in to take over jungle. Aggressive play towards this, and in the murder hole there, Maxter, yeah, thought better of it. Not really worth it. Still a 4-on-3, so NIP have a chance in the round, but it's a good start for Navi.
Yeah, they still don't have the bomb down, and Roland's fighting his way out of CT spawn. Headshot onto Perfecto. Alexi B moving up connector, taking away some angles from this Navi approach, but does feel like the bodies are, there's too many of them for Navi. Alexi double peeked, almost able to find both. Now Maxter, let's see what he's made of. The stand-in hears that they are retreating. They're moving away from him, but with 20 seconds left, they might have to go right into him. The smoke will block this sightline. He gets a glimpse of Electronic, doesn't spot Bit just yet, and Bit one-waying right around the smoke. Very strong hold from them. Even with 3 HP, just holds the line and covers his teammate.
That is unbelievably close. Navi should be thanking the lucky stars that they actually come out of this one. Started off fairly well with that shot from Brolin, but just the aggressive move. And Maxter, he had the rider. You could tell he knew someone's going to be guarding, just couldn't see over the smoke. Second time out for NIP as Navi pick up finally one more round.
That was a really unique approach. It felt like Navi just got a little bit fortunate because Rez was getting pressured from both the A side and that bottom connector was caught off guard. That's Navi, I'd say, playing with just a little bit more pace too. They haven't always been that explosive in this half. They've really just waited to the last 20, 30 seconds to make their hit, but they tried converging with about a minute left on the clock that time, and it really worked in their favor. NIP maybe not ready for that.
I think it's crunch time now. If NIP lose this round, they are out of cash. And Navi can go from 3 to probably 5 rounds, and that's probably good enough for the first half. So this is really, again, we've reached this point in the game where NIP's great start could still fold. It could still, some of the bricks or the blocks in the Jenga tower are slowly being pulled apart here. They're just a little bit more unstable.
Oh yeah, it's feeling shaky right now. I think if the Richter scale hits 4, this might topple. For people without a background, that's not that much. That's not a huge earthquake.
It's not huge, but you know, the logarithmic scale, so you know, 4 to 5, things get way worse. Oh,
okay, that's the start that NIP were looking for. Rez just standing his ground, but Maxter, he's the one tested. 5-7 at the van right now, able to pick up the first on the Perfecto. That's the bomb too. Rotation should be coming in. Alexi B unable to get a kill though, and this really puts Maxter on an island. He's got to do God's work if he wants to bring his team forward in this round. He's able to get another, but the trades, they don't quite work out for Navi. It just leaves Simple.
When he goes straight for it, look at the Brolin right for the smoke. That's such a bold move. And it works out. Brolin ice cold. Beating Simple in that. Could have easily been that Simple. Faked it. He had the time for it. But he went straight for that bomb plant. And Maxter, even just the 1 kill there. I mean, it's not a lot, but all he had was a 5-7. Actually, he did get 2 in that round. Really, really well done. Okay, there is something to work with now. NIP, that's a round again. If they lost it, it's Navi's time to take over the game again, but they get denied.
What's really nice about what we're seeing from Maxter is that he didn't have the best Inferno, but you would have said that that's probably because the team just really crumbled there. Yeah. This time around, he's doing very well early on, 13-8. He actually has over 100 ADR, and so in a position that usually gets no love on this B anchor, he's doing well.
And a lot of the time, he has been playing alone, right? There's not been that much backup. Alexi, at the most, maybe has been over in connector towards the middle, but he's had to make a lot of the decisions himself. Electronic, I actually love everything about that play. It's so sick to walk that far in with the timing. Unfortunately for him, Headtrick just turned around at the right moment. But I still think that's a brilliant idea for Electronic. It didn't work out.
Headtrick, showing he can get it done with the rifle. I really liked Headtrick in the Academy League when he was on the rifle. He was just hard carrying games. And so that's something that's a little bit scary about NIP. If they really get the system rolling, if they really start putting the pieces together here, this guy is actually a very capable hybrid. You wouldn't really just pigeonhole him in to be... I love that from TJL.
Get it hyped up. They need more of that. They definitely need more of that. Get some energy flowing on the side of NIP. Currently, they definitely have Molotov there to force out the Deagle on Bit. And oh
no!
Well, he was forced out.
Yeah.
In a manner of speaking. That's very cool.
That's just the best feeling. When you get forced out from the molly, you say, okay, you wanted to take a fight against me? And then you win it.
Yeah, I'll even let you throw the first grenade.
Yeah.
But then.
Exactly. 4 versus 4, though. Still a situation that feels comfortable for NIP, but if one player dies, then things get really shaky. But Rez, he's just been a monster connector. 20 kills in the first half.
Good stuff. Broline going to be taking down Bit right afterwards. So they are locking it down. Cheeky boost coming out from Alexi. And it's just no problem. 11-3 as NIP have really now taken over this entire first half. And unlike on Inferno, where they stumbled and slipped up at the beginning of it, or at the end of it right when it was looking good, this is a little bit different.
There's hope now for NIP. There's hope that they can extend this series. Third map would be Overpass. Still, a lot of Mirage left to be played. But when Rez is playing like this, it's just, he's controlling so much of the map. Connector there, obviously one of the most pivotal positions. Anybody who's been watching CS for more than a month or so could tell you that.
Yeah, so if you're gonna have a game like this, you're right, you're in the position where you can go anywhere. You could be all over the map pretty quickly. 15th round. And Navi, let's see. This could make for a really tough second half all of a sudden. 3 rounds, definitely nowhere near enough. Even for super questionable, they need to win the pistol probably no matter what at this point to have a really realistic shot at it.
Looks like Navi want to go for a re-exec here. They just threw the right side smokes. They still have a couple smokes to work with, and Brolin's getting close. Okay, he wants to actually stop this in advance. That's beautiful. The proactive play works out in his favor. He's able to get a kill, figure some information out for his team. Now Rez behind triple. They are approaching, and he's been hot so far, but he doesn't even get a chance to shoot back.
Oh, Hetrick got the kill on electronic down connector right afterwards, but it still does open up the bomb side. Good catch for Alexi. He's been good as well. 3 versus 2. And Simple now the last one alive. Max has shown up as well. 25 seconds. And he does have the bomb, and he's trying to make an escape. Slowly creeping out of the bomb side. And so far, nobody has realized. They still think that he's on here. He's actually slipped the net completely. This is so cool. Gonna be a bomb plant right now, and that will be a surprise to NIP. Now they realize. Yeah. All right. He has escaped. And the question is, can they make their way past this world-class and lethal AWP? He's trying to relocate, wants to make sure that he can't easily get naded or Molotoved out from any kind of corner. This is a much more versatile position, although he's back down below, misses the first shot, and they're running him down. Good flick to drop Maxter. Next up in line is Hetrick, and he's dead as well, but the defuse happening on the other side. Oh, Simple! That is one hell of a clutch! 1 versus 3, and a secret ninja plant on the other side. That's a good way to end it, but Navi, they have all of their work ahead of them.
Up. Nice. Come on, jungle. Come on, shadow. Jungle. Nitro A player. I'm planting. Make planting.
Holding. Plant 15.
Holding.
Yeah, he faked it.
I'll see him coming.
I think I'm pushing now.
I'll see him.
The guy can't come.
Wait, planted like default.
Default. Fire. Close to me, dead. Fire.
Default.
Wait. I'm reloading. I'm ready, guys. I'm pushing. Half HP.
Nice! Shit!
Down! Yeah, let's go, bro. They're going now.
I don't hear them yet, so.
The other one's going B. He's going B.
Where are they?
He's dead. The others should be B. One was halls. Actually, Ruffs. He's peeking.
Nice. One more coming in.
He might come back now.
He will go back, I think. He's a Mac 10.
I flashed him, I'm going back.
Yeah, good. John, go first. Just run into side, John.
Arch, come in. Just come peek, please.
Nice.
Wesley's
gonna go lane, guys.
Flashing lane right now.
I'm going grave.
Nice. Well played, John. Good job. Good job. Nice.
Coming library one. Coming out library.
Out.
Mid, boiler. Short.
Danny, happy plant.
I killed on mid. One is still low, I think. I'm
Go,
going
go,
short. I'm on long.
Have long, okay.
Alright.
Stay.
One is low still.
Long dart.
Low HP, I think.
Nice!
Alright, I kill. Nothing mid. I'm going to be.
Smoke B. B.
I'm moving. Hobby. I'm blind. Smoke city only.
Killer.
I have it still.
Same.
One B main. One more. Two more.
Healer.
One more. Ball, last guy there.
Far back.
I'm burning. I have contact. Yeah, peeking your contact.
Nice!
Nice shots, boys. Yeah, deny. Flash. Flashing A. Straight, off right. That boom. Dropping over. Temple one. Come. One A. They smoke me. Towards me. Going through. Towards arch. Burning. He's peeking me.
Nice, one more. Nice, one more. Up. One left, one more slow up and left. Kan de minst lurk? Let's drop and left. Nice, stop one.
Here across?
Coming to you.
Yeah.
Across. I got under. Nice. That's crossing, I think. He didn't cross. He stepped, at least.
Gonna flash side there. Here you go.
Yeah. Give me siding.
Tetris.
Sick, bro. Thank you. Open sandwich.
Show me who's the boss now.
Open.
Some good communication in a tight round that, against Simple. This time they brought him down at the end of the half course. Simple with the 1 versus 3 to actually finally get another round for NAVI. But they're really, really far behind. This is looking promising for NIP. It's hard not to get excited. 11-4 in their favor. They're so close, Alex. They've almost done it.
When Hedrick won that, Rez said, show him who's the boss now. Want to keep seeing that. Want to see NIP fighting back into this one. Would love to see a third map. NIP, they're a team that just, it's hard to believe till they actually get it over the finish line. And Rez taking down NPL. It was a set play to try to activate that pistol, but it'll actually be a B hit.
He's so dangerous with those headshots. You just have to be careful. There's the reason why. It's so sick. And he's taken down Maxter. A young kid trying to play at this level. Definitely a challenge. Perfecto on the other side. He's going to be taking on Hetrick. Now it's all up to Alexi, and he's dropping quick. Rez was practically dead already. It's a brilliant retake. Practically not even a retake. They were on the bomb site when the bomb was being planted. So NAVI, they will win the pistol round, and that does make everything a little bit more interesting. Although the bomb plant for NAVI means, or for NIP means they can be a little bit more aggressive, maybe.
They can make the next round a little bit interesting, but that was a great hold between Bit and that site player, just staying alive. Even though NIP were flooding the bomb site, they just made sure that they kept those crossfires alive, made sure that NIP weren't able to take any ground. Yeah, Perfecto it was. That was sitting back behind those pillars, and if you don't dislodge those players, if you don't find that space, then that B post plant, it's not quite as favorable as you would hope.
Doesn't feel like it.
Oh, they bought. They're going for this. But they have so little utility, the ninjas.
Relying on their mechanics, which, to be honest, that's been holding up so far on Mirage. They've been doing a fine job, so maybe they can beat them in that way. It's not like NAVI have a lot of utility either. We'll see how this plays out. Well, here you go. A bullet delivered by Rez straight to Simple's face. A clean entry. 4 on 5 now.
Need something like that when you don't have much utility to work with. See that NIP, they're making their way towards A. Pretty simple approach. They just have one in Palace, a few towards the ramp. they do have this X factor in Maxter lurking towards that underpass. This is a position that you would usually want someone that's veteran, someone that understands the timings. When is it appropriate to strike? But we'll see if he even needs to get activated. The hit is on towards this A side. NPL stands his ground right around that smoke. And Electronic's able to get one too. So, oh, what? NPL takes down Maxer right through the smoke. Must have been calm to him, his position, but Hedrick and Brolin doesn't feel like they have many opportunities left in this round. No smokes, no nades, nothing. And they are taken down. Navi withstand the force buy from Ninjas.
Kind of a shame not to be able to build on what was happening in the middle to start the round with, but, you know, just didn't quite have maybe some of the utility to put some more pressure on and take more of the attention away. And then that shot from NPL, I'm curious how he found that one as well. Very interesting that he just spun around to get that one. Must have been, yeah. A little bit of an assist from Perfecto, so I'm sure it was called out. But either way, good angle and a good setup. And Navi, like you said, living through the force buy, which means we're very likely going to get to that 7-11 type scoreline, which is super open. It's Sonic's Law for a reason.
Yes, yeah. That is convenience store favored by many. Much better in Asia, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, oh yeah.
What makes it better, Maui?
Well, just the food options. The ready-to-eat food is much better at 7-Elevens there, because if you go to America or... They've got them in Denmark, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, but it's mostly like hot dogs or taquitos on spits. It's kind of...
civilized country, you know?
Kind of odd, you know, kind of odd food you wouldn't really trust. But Taiwan, Japan, you actually get some really solid items. It was Anthony Bourdain's favorite... One of his favorite food items in Japan was the Lawson, which is kind of like a 7-Eleven equivalent. Their egg salad sandwich.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not just me saying this.
Step it up, 7-Eleven, you know? Need better choices. But we're getting sidetracked. To focus on... Well, I guess the Glocks, we don't really actually have to. Should be a very clean round. The one maybe trick here to boost up into it. There is still a Deagle somewhere on Hedrick. But it should be an easy enough cleanup here. Some dinks are coming out. But not too much damage on the Simple either. And Navi, no problems. They survive with 5 members alive. And I think it was it 4 in the last one? I started to build that economy swiftly, which that might be one of the things that NIP will have to overcome.
Yeah, 1 death in the past 2 rounds is not what you want to see, especially given the fact that NIP did buy in one of those 2 rounds. So this is going to be a mountain that NIP have to overcome. They have to climb it. Even though they're ahead in rounds, this is where Navi are just so frightening. So many teams fall victim to a comeback from Navi.
NIP know that better than most teams, it feels like right now. They've been experiencing that just throughout the spring groups here already. Oh, wow. Come on. Sneaking out, realizing there's a player back there, and then still just getting down the ladder. I actually can't believe it. Is he going to get jump spotted? I don't know if he is. I feel like there is a chance that that guy at Ticket Booth could see, but it's not been calmed. I don't think anyone knows yet. Alexi continuing his mission, and that's a free kill. What a beautiful bit of movement from Alexi. A good lesson that it's not just all about mechanics. Some of it could just be outsmarting the opponent, and he keeps it going. He's almost won the round already for his team.
That was beautiful stuff from Alexi. This will be really tough for Navi to get back into this one, but they're able to deal with the mid-presence in res. This was where it might get a little bit interesting if they find a kill soon, but it does look like they have bowed out of this. Alexi doing it on his own, sneaking down that ladder, beating the jump spotter in electronic towards CT. Just can't quite see him there. That is so well played from Alexi. That's kind of a Hampus sort of move. You'd expect him to do something sneaky like that, but Alexi B takes over the IGL responsibility from Hampus and the cheeky play responsibility.
Wow. I'm officially impressed. It's the kind of move that you maybe can't plan for. You just see it in the moment and you think, okay, I can sense there's an opportunity here. Huge for NIP because we said not that much damage in a couple of rounds here, and Navi building the game back up. You just can't let it happen. They need some kind of killer instinct here in IP and end this map really, really quickly. Take away the economy, bring it to an end, get on to overpass before Navi start that comeback happening. Because we know the more time goes, the more rounds we play, the bigger the chance that Navi are just going to bring it back.
And Simple has that off. That's where things get really scary for NIP. They haven't had to deal with this yet, but the best sniper in the world is with his favorite weapon. Peeking at the connector now, looking for an opportunity. Rez got to be so careful about this fight, but Simple doesn't actually recognize any mid presence just yet, and so he rotates on back to A. This might work in the favor of NIP. Just setting up in a very passive default. Both of these teams, it seems like, on these gun rounds, they've just wanted to settle in, really wait. And we see that Alexi, one piece of utility, which should indicate them wanting to take this space.
Oh, Rez playing under it. Thought he was going to be a bit more aggressive, but that is a classic smoke to try and get some mid-control here. He's doing it on his own. Any kill that he could find right now, it would draw Navi into this position, and it would open up the B bomb site. He needs to stay alive, and he needs to try and have some kind of a presence. Crossfire between Bit and Perfecto over at the B bomb site. That's what they have to break up in the next 40 or so seconds. Oh, wait a minute.
What is this? They're going underpass. It looks like they want to move up connector then. Oh, this is going to run right into the triple stack of Navi. This is a very interesting mid-round call from Alexi.
Even without the stack, just the fact that there's 20 seconds, there's so little time. One mistake, the bomb could drop and never get picked up again. This is scary. 15 seconds, they get the opening on one. Electronic is calling it out. Pretty decent nade to slow them down on top, but they are still running at him. But now the bomb's out in the open. That's just what we mentioned. It doesn't take a lot. 4 seconds left. They do pick it up, and they're right on top. They have the time for it. Maxter, the hero of the round, and now it's a 2-on-3. If he doesn't jump and pick up that C4, then they lose the round to the time alone. And he had no more, like a second less, and he would have been out of the round, no question. Bit and Simple, they feel like they maybe could go for the retake. They're at least getting close, but did they call it off? Yeah, they did. Picking up the AWP. That's 13 on the side of NIP.
Oh, what an incredible mid-round there from Alexi. Rez hunting down Bit, not able to get the kill. Looks like both of these teams will keep their remaining players alive, but that was way too close. You were saying that if anything went wrong, and it did, it could be a disaster for NIP, but Maxter just jumping around, able to recover that bomb in time. Gotta feel like he's the hero there, because that was a very, very unique call from Alexi. With that little time, I'm a little bit shocked that he made that, and that it worked as well as it did.
So little margin for error once the bomb goes down.
If Electronic just gets one more kill on the site, anything... Oh, there it is, yeah.
Yeah, and in hindsight, one more kill, or even just if he could tuck back in behind the boxes, then they can't hunt him down in the same fashion. If he can escape and just stay alive, then there's probably not going to be a bomb plant anyway. Third timeout used from Navi. Starting to get a little bit more serious on that side of things, because NIP are... They're living up to the promise of what they were doing in the early part of the first half there. They were playing really well. They did come up with a really fantastic first half, obviously 11-4 in their favor. And this time, they're holding up. It's good to see.
Just on top of that call, if Navi had any forward positioning, because NIP had no eyes towards A. They didn't have anybody ramp, nobody palace. If Navi had inserted themselves into the spots, you would probably write that round off too.
Yeah.
But it just all fell into place. Okay. Heavy A setup for NIP early on, as it does indicate the likelihood that they will be challenging that site.
This could work. If they find Electronic immediately, they can lock out the mid portion of it, but a good kill, at least for him to begin with. It's too much to handle to follow it up, and the near lineup Perfecto could have had 3 in that spray down, but Hetrick is quick on the return. Still a 2-on-2, and Bit finding that spray at range. Maybe not the most stylish kill, but he'll get the job done anyway. Maxter just posing up here, hoping that maybe Navi underestimate him, that someone would have been a little bit too bold to move forward. They're low on health though, and they don't want to go too aggressive. A Molotov back, they're not going to touch him. Did he see the shadow when they're above him? He might be able to. They're throwing more grenades, all the nades at him, but he's not there. He's relocated, and I don't think they realize. Smokes and flashes now on top, and that smoke might help him out. He has to move because the bomb is on the other side, and it's a quick defuse as well. Headshot on one more second. Baxter on the clutch! Absolutely brilliant! Welcome to Tier 1. That is important.
Mad Max getting it done right there. 1 versus 2. Excellently played. Love that he moved off the bomb site right into sandwich. Navi never saw it coming. That smoke played around perfectly, and just with 1 second left on that defuse bit right there, you see it. Oh, it's actually 0.3. That's how close that was. You can see how that lights his team up in that moment.
I don't think many people would have expected anything like this. A hard call to be made. You pick up the phone in the morning, you say, I'm doing what now? I'm going to Denmark to play Navi on LAN? Can I get a chance to adjust? Nope, you're just right into it, right in the mix.
He answered that call. And he's looking pretty good on this map. 16 and 12. But Navi, they're still fighting in this one. 4 versus 3. An advantage out of nowhere, seemingly. And so, NIP's got to pick it up. Still more CS to be played. And it's worrying when Simple finds an AK in a round like this. You never know where he's headed, and you never know what he can do.
You know he's going to be active with it, looking for another follow-up. 14-7. NIP, they're basically there. They've basically done it. Good opening here for Hetrick and Maxter. And they avoid Simple. They hear the gun ring out to the bottom of the B bomb site. They say, why fight it? It's not really worth it. Perfecto shot up with the deagle, but he misses maybe the one opportunity that he had. And it will be a 1 versus 3 for Simple. Element of surprise, not even really with him. They knew his back B. It's not going to be a huge shock if he shows up, but the accuracy is still with him as he takes down Maxter and just keeps running for it. He knows he has to try and do something to bring his team back into it. No kit on him. That'll be a very, very long time if he has to go for the defuse. And I think he might be realizing that now. He needed a second player to be found almost instantly to turn it into a 1 versus 1. And he's going to back on out of there. 15-7. NIP a round away from winning Mirage.
This one got a little bit scary, but NIP with the firepower advantage were able to bust their way into that bomb site. This is NIP potentially setting us up for a third map. That would be Overpass. I'm really interested to see if this NIP team has improved from the last time they faced off against Navi. It felt like a very lopsided game, but perhaps they're a different team today. Perhaps the Maxter effect is in full force.
Yeah, we're getting a lot. It's very interesting. Last timeout for Navi, so they will have to try and make the comeback happen here without Blade's input and without a chance to rally the team. CT side, it can be done. It could definitely be done.
Would really never count Navi out in situations like this. So many ways that they can break the spirits of the opposing team. 15-7 does feel quite far, though. NIP have created a huge cushion for themselves. Just anything has to go right. Could have an individual pop-off round. Could have a great call from Alexi B, what have you. So I'm sure DJL put together a great plan along with Alexi to try to end this before Navi claw their way back in.
Fortunately for Navi, they have somebody to work with in the round. Always feels a bit deflating if you have to play what could be the last round and you just don't have any cash to work with. So they're going to have a fair shot at it. Peek from NPL and spotted, I think, at least 1, maybe 2 at the top of mid. But otherwise, a very, very default setup coming up from Navi. Nothing too out of the ordinary. No real push is happening, which NIP did a fair bit of on the CT side. They were really aggressive. A-ramp, Palace push into the B hallways some of the time, which was fun to watch, if nothing else.
And it helped them out.
It did.
Could have let the half slip away if they just kept playing default, but they made sure to change things up. And it's a big reason why they've looked stronger here on Mirage. All right. Map control being taken. NPL sitting right in that smoke. Seems like Alexi heard that scorching sound, and that is an advantage already for the offense. But Simple, he's able to find a kill in return. Oh no, Rez. Doesn't seem like he's actually checked him out. That spot, he overlooked it, and now Simple, he's having an opportunity, but Maxter shuts him down.
Spray a little bit too long, enough for Hetrick to show up at the same time, and it's a 2-on-2. Yeah, I think he might have thought that Simple fell back from that position. Either way, he definitely wasn't ready. Bit and Perfecto holding on to Mirage now, right now for Navi. And Perfecto getting double peaked. That's too much. Bit is the only one left. And he's low on health behind that initial fight. Flashed on over, but Hetrick hiding inside of the smoke. And Bit has to move. He can't. Hetrick will take him down 16-7 as NIP. They find some strength still left in them. The Jenga tower is going to stay standing all the way onto Overpass. And maybe they could do it this time. Last time, they didn't quite make it work, but they seem like a reinvigorated team here.
Yes, this is a great opportunity for Ninjas to right their wrongs, even through the adversity of playing with a stand-in, playing with Maxter. Maxter showed up in the moment, but another guy I'm going to want to hear so much for is DJL. James, take it away.
DJL, this is a hell of a turnaround from the Mirage we saw before, but I want to just touch on this Maxter guy. He's seems to be fitting in pretty nicely. This is a very limited practice, and yet he's still showing up.
Yeah, I mean, his eyes cold. He played a super well map. Let's keep on doing that, and I'm happy, you know.
I see a bit of a sigh of relief for that one, right? Was there still some nerves coming into it, still noticing some mistakes that weren't quite comfortable for you?
No, but I mean, like, just overall, Inferno was pretty mad just because we were not there, like, ready mentally. We were not in the right mindset and all that, and I think that we kind of lost ourselves, especially on that map, and we just enjoyed now. Like, we enjoyed and we played much better. And I mean, of course, like, when everyone is playing well, it's kind of easy to play, so it's super important now on Overpass that we do the same, just play.
And you got off to a good start on both maps, right? You look clean on it, but what happens then if it doesn't go too well? Is there something you've got kind of in your mind of what you can do to make sure that if things do turn around a bit sour, you can turn it around, you can get that good mood going again?
Yeah, I mean, usually we have really bad starts and we turn it around, so I think sometimes we're not there and sometimes we are. I just think that now when we play with a stand, we should just enjoy it, and of course it helps when you get momentum, right? So
let's see if we can get that momentum again. DJL, thank you very much, man. Good luck.
Welcome everybody to Skin Riders. We are here with Blast in Abu Dhabi, and to my left there is this beast. Twist will do us the pleasure of being in it and going around the laps. What he's gonna do is draw skins, in fact, and then we're gonna have 3 players guess which skins these are.
Why is the painting just so bad, guys? They don't want me to succeed.
This right here is like something that a child would draw.
We need some art classes so we help people start doing like normal human beings, and right now it's a complete mess.
I just see some people trolling me. A player or an animal do this. I think a player, probably not a good one, but a player.
Like someone smashes the color on the paper and just like does with his finger. But I'm not sure why there is so many dots that are like going out of the USP. And they're also not only going out of the USP, they look so... They're just, you know, a mess. Every drawing is a mess, and I'm not...
Think of anything else that looks kind of similar?
Dualies. How can I know Dualies' skins? Oh, I don't even know a name of Dualies' skin.
All I can think of is like they're blindfolded or something.
Once again, a hot start for NIP, and this time paving the road to success. An in-control defensive half, and man, the individuals shining through. And I'm not just talking about your NIP veterans, rather, like Rez. I'm talking about the new guns that have entered the server, because man, Maxter, welcome to the big leagues. He was shining through, Matthew.
Yeah, what a performance from Maxter. That's beautiful for him. You have to imagine how much of an opportunity it is for him to showcase what he can do. In the first map, we obviously rightfully didn't mention him too much. He was relatively silent, but here he had a couple of moments that were worth its weight in gold. I think here is going to be a good example. This is going to be the crazy clutch. Mr. Jacob.
Yeah, it's just good to see, right? Because one thing is looking good on the scoreboard, but the impact he found in this game on both sides, obviously the clutch coming in right here, you find yourself in a 1v2 clutch against two of the most legendary players in the game right now, maybe one of the best rookies of all time, and then of course Simple. And he's playing it so calm, so collective, doesn't get flustered, doesn't get stressed out, waiting for the moment, and then he's hitting, right? Moving in behind the smoke, finding the first kill, and sure, the time is running down right here, but he had under control from start to finish. One thing, as I said, is looking good on the scoreboard, but in the first half on the CT side as well, he's playing B-apps, and he was being tested time and time again. At a point in the middle of first half, he had plus 100 ADR, he was shutting down the B-bomb side, so he had a fantastic showing, despite the scoreboard making him look just decent.
And what this clip, also shows us is how slow NAVI retook that 1v2. What is going on? They were taking forever and ever. They had the information on Maxter. He was definitely default box. You could see it by the utility, but they left him a good, 15 seconds to change his position, and then once they finally decide to kick in the retake, he can be anywhere. He could have gone under a shadow, he could have gone Tetris, he could have gone ramp, he could have been in naps. That's why you can see they have no idea where to go. This was strange from NAVI in that 2v1, and we also have to give a special shout out to Maxter for grabbing that bomb, Tom Cruise style, Mission Impossible, grabbing the bomb with 4 seconds, planning towards the very end. That also denotes some quick thinking from Maxter.
Yeah, and it's the fact that he shows no nerves in that situation as well. I think you kind of poised it perfectly, Jacob. Obviously, you got Simple, you got Bit, two of the huge names in the game currently. You wouldn't blame him for getting a little bit flustered, maybe forgetting a few things here and there, because we had little to no expectation for Maxter coming into this.
Yeah, especially after the Inferno performance as well, where he didn't do anything whatsoever. It's also, as said it a couple of times throughout this tournament, one thing is being a stand-in on a map like Inferno. It's always tough. Nuke, Inferno, you name it. Whereas Mirage is a little bit easier to slot in, so to speak. And I think he did a tremendous job right here. Again, the scoreboard doesn't make him look as good as he was. 77 ADR, decent, 19 to 14, decent, but I think the impact he had on the server is not to be mistaken with.
Absolutely. I was just thinking in my mind that NAVI have atypical losses so far in this tournament. Losses that I usually would never ever pertain to a team like that. We talked about losing rounds to MP9s and Famouses and 5-7, sorry. We had the great example right there in the highlight reel. That is not supposed to be NAVI. You go back to a city side that is, once again, for my money, not mobile enough. They're not moving enough compared to NIP, who were peeking down flash ramp, going in for kills, taking T-spawns. NAVI just accept to play with their setup. Electronic struggled massively on the city side. I don't understand. This seems to be a trend. There isn't enough movement for my money.
It's the body language as well coming out of them. You could see it in that first half. Blade took a couple of timeouts, and you could almost see him and Perfecto going into a hot-hearted discussion all of a sudden. They were talking back and forth. You see Electronic on the server as well. As you said, his body language on the server is changing. He's not as impactful as he used to be. He's not really finding the kills that he used to. We talked about it a little bit, right? Electronic as an in-game leader in NAVI, I think we all agree that's not the solution. It's not the most optimal thing, but there's not much you can do to change it right now. But it's getting to a point where I'm starting to worry for the future of NAVI. Is that really something you can rely on? Is that really a player you want in that position? Because we're slowly but surely seeing one of the best riflers of all time in Counter-Strike fading away to be irrelevant, and I don't want to be part of it.
I know, it hurts. It hurts to see, honestly. And you see the way Electronic plays some of these situations, and you can almost feel physically that he is thinking instead of aiming. And that is the curse of the IGL. There are moments where it's a little bit hectic. You don't really know what positions you have or not. You don't really know if you should call or rotate. So instead of focusing exactly on what is happening on your monitor, making sure you get that double kill, maybe you're swinging a little too wide. Your crosshair is a little bit up in the air. I mean, call it the Apex syndrome if you will. He had a couple of these moments on the A side where you could feel like he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I don't like to see Electronic like that. I really don't.
Yeah, I think that's why we keep on saying, you know, maybe this NAVI project, I mean, hopefully if you're a NAVI fan as well, is a work in progress. We
Get
expect
Blade on the server at this point. Get Blade on the server, free Electronic, you know, that'll probably be better.
Jesus Christ.
That's my solution right here.
NAVI manager over here dictating exactly what the roster is going to be doing. I do just want to point our attention to the pictures right now. Now, these are live pictures. The team haven't actually left to go outside to take any breathing room. As soon as that map finished, Blade went in with the notes coming into the third and final map, which will be Overpass. They've been going over every single minute detail. That's exactly what we want to see from Blade as a coach.
Yeah, of course we want, and this is where Blade is extremely needed. This is a team that is fragile right now, fresh off of a roster change, and we acknowledge, we understand that this isn't the finished product of NAVI, and I don't have a problem with that, but it's more about, as Jacob is talking, it's more about body language, it's more about attitude in the game, solutions, decision-making and solution finding. That is my problem. I know they don't have the full portfolio of strategies right now. I'm aware of that. That's okay. But I would like to see a bit more of a fighting spirit, a bit more aggression, a bit more assertiveness. This can come whether or not you have a stand-in or a new player for that matter.
There's also a limit to it, because I will agree with you, Matthew. We give them a bit of a leeway in the sense that they're coming into this tournament, integrating NPL. They want to experiment a little bit with the map pool, with the positions, etc., etc. One thing is being a little bit scrappy, maybe not winning the games as cleanly as you want to, losing a couple of games here and there, but you're about potentially to lose to NIP, who are coming in with a 1 day ahead of a stand-in in Maxter. A player who hasn't played any competitive Counter-Strike at a very high level, first time in the studio, first time on a LAN. That becomes a thing where you're flirting with the line of being unacceptable for a team like NAVI. So the pressure is mounting right now. Sure, they can try to talk down that pressure, saying that we're just trying to integrate NPL. We're giving ourselves a bit of a leeway, but from the outside right now and for the NAVI fans, this result, losing to NIP and Overpass coming up, that would be straight up unacceptable.
Yeah, of course, we are alluding to Overpass. That will be the third and final decider, exactly the same as last time these two teams faced up. And I think it was fair to say that NIP just kind of looked out of gas coming into that one, which is where I kind of worry now, because DGL, I mean, he sounded hyped up. He sounded like the boys were hyped up, particularly Maxter coming off that performance. I feel like mentally, NIP are going to be in a good zone.
Oh, they will be at the start of the game, but I will echo your sentiment in terms of wariness, is because NIP have shown that whenever the ball is not rolling, sometimes they struggle to recreate momentum, to regain control of a game. Whenever they're rolling with the rounds, you can see them smiling, they're hyped up as hell. When Maxter is clutching, everyone is almost standing up, giving high fives. But whenever they're on the opposite side of the beating, on the receiving end of the beating, then it's a bit more silent and they kind of falter into the ground and they disappear. And this is what cannot happen, because after all, NAVI, specifically on the T side, can still mount a comeback and it can be hard to put down.
It's not often that a knife round is important, but I feel it is. I feel it is right now for NIP. They want to start on that CT side. They don't want to be put under that pressure. We know Navi is a team capable of big comebacks, so I wouldn't necessarily be too worried if Navi is starting on the T side. But as you said, NIP right now is a little bit more fragile in the sense that if the plan A is not working, there is no plan B.
You know what? I agree with you, Jacob, but here's my issue. I am uncertain about the CT side of NAVI. And this is new for me. This is a new feeling, because this used to be a team, because you would look at the talent all across the board from coast to coast and you say there is so many different players in any given position that can have the impact, that can close around. I don't think we've seen that strong of a CT side so far in Copenhagen. So where is the safe value? Where's the safe bet? Where's the safety net that for sure they're going to get 8, 9, 10 rounds because of their talents? I think it hasn't been there quite yet, so I'm a little worried.
Yeah, it's certainly not unknown quantity. I mean, does this sway you to potentially saying NIP could upset this one, Jacob?
Definitely. I don't believe Navi are a stable quantity right now, as Matthew is saying. It can be an upset. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think Navi is the better team. They still have the better players, but the known quantities in Electronic and Simple will have to step up, because we didn't even mention NPL. He's having a good series so far. It's not him who's the issue. It's the rest of the team right now. You need to see more from Simple, more from Electronic, more from Blade for that matter. Take charge of this game and get it done.
Well, Navi's certainly going to have to bolster a stronger approach to this one. As Jacob aptly put it, so much pressure on the shoulders of Navi. We're coming down to Overpass, where they looked stellar last time around, but we're not sure it's going to be the same picture after this.
Welcome back, everybody. Surprisingly, we have a third map. NIP did really, really well on the second one, and now we're on Overpass. So I'm excited. I hope NIP can keep this up. I want to see that. Maxter, obviously, substitute, but you can't really tell. He's doing a fine job right now. And it's kind of on NAVI to show that they're not just going to continue this slightly stale kind of Counter-Strike. I'm not really seeing quite enough. I want more out of NAVI.
It is not the prettiest from NAVI. It does seem like there are some growing pains with NPL. I would say that if I had to boil it down to one issue, it's the lack of initiative or proactive play in the early round sometimes, the mid round. It's like if you're looking at the radar, the one moving piece you can count on will be simple, and we're not always seeing the rest of the team joining. We got NIP, they're pushing around.
They are pushing around. Now, we're going to catch the knife round in a second when everyone is ready for it. Player did drop out, so obviously need everyone, you know, commence the stabbing to decide who goes on what side. So, yeah, could be kind of important for this one, actually, who wins the knife round. It feels like if NIP can get the momentum early and just never let go of it, then there is a chance here. So, you know, if they can win the knife round, maybe start on that CT side, feel a little bit more comfortable.
I actually want NIP to lose the knife round. Ooh. I mean, I'm not for a biased reason or anything, but they had a very poor CT side the last time they played NAVI. NAVI went with a very fundamental B-heavy approach on the T side when these teams faced off against each other just 4 days ago. And for NIP, I think that they were actually on they were starting a comeback once they moved to the offense. And what I would have always praised NIP for of last year was their T side. The DJL, Hampus, even with Alexi B chiming in here and there, I think that they actually have quite a lot in terms of structure and options when they switched that side. But we saw almost just individual weakness, especially towards B, the last time these two teams squared off.
Yeah, that's something that can't repeat itself. I mean, we have the outline for what NIP need. Rez playing the kind of the way that he did here. You had Alexi, I think, and individually was playing very well. Brolin, I think, was put under more pressure maybe at the A-bomb side, but he still stood up to a bunch of those rounds. And if Maxter could just continue to have, you know, a couple of important rounds, but more than anything, just don't be a liability. And Hetrick also was good. I mean, we know the kind of mechanical Counter-Strike that NIP need to bring to the table to try and defeat NAVI. It's just that sometimes it disappears completely. And on this map, I think both Electronic and Bit weren't having so much of a good time on the second map, on Mirage. No. If any of those players come alive to help out Simple, you know that it's going to be obviously super, super dangerous once again for NIP. So nothing is settled as we head into the third map, and absolutely anything could happen. Do you have a rough feeling of how this is going to go? You want to venture a little prediction?
Ooh, prediction here. Okay, I will give Navi the edge in this game, although I think it's safe to say that NIP are playing a different brand of CS today. I wouldn't even necessarily say it's a better brand of CS or anything of that sort, but they look good. They look good in different ways. That's kind of how I put it. The proactive nature, what we saw, especially in the first half there against Mirage, that's a great sign. When Maxter and Brolin were connecting at A, when they were pushing together, it felt like they were actually winning the round on their terms.
Well, we're going to get the knife round here so that we can get a sense. You said maybe it'd be better for NIP actually not to start on the CT side, just given how things have been working out. And it is at least going to be up to Navi to decide where things are going. Typically, you would choose the CT side, but I mean, there's always room for interpretation. Third and final map. And a quick study right before the exam. Man after my own heart.
A little bit of cramming right there. Just getting it in, making sure that you've got all your notes down in front of you, that you know what Blade has written down to a T, because I'll say it again though. I think Blade winning the Coach of the Year at the recent HLTV Awards, I think it was very deserved. There's been some pushback whether it should be Robin or him. I think you could have either opinion, but this is an opportunity for Blade and Navi to show that that first win on Overpass earlier this week was not a fluke, that they are the stronger team. But NIP, they're going to fight back, and Maxter is too.
Starting on the T side is NIP, and Navi, like we said, on the CT side. So let's just get right into it. And actually, a very quick stack towards the B bomb site for Navi. if they push out into the waters outside of it and try and go up connector, what they're not doing yet, but you can be very, very mobile, especially in pistol rounds. Something that Astralis used to do a long time ago with the original lineup, the best lineup of all time. They used to do this thing where they would push 4 people down and then they would actually keep running and almost just instantly flank the A bomb site. Very cool, very fun strategy to watch. It seems like Navi, they're a little bit more patient with this one, but they have at least left Perfecto out there, so if they come back now in IP, it's hard to crack open that door and get in there without getting blown up.
It maintains so much information for Navi, for Perfecto to be seated there. But it does look like NIP are interested in this A site. Nades are already out in hand, and Electronic will be the first one tested. Close bathrooms.
Yes, he will. Oh, that flashbang seemed to work, but it didn't matter in the end. Rez will still find a shot, and he'll take down Simple. Only Bit defending the bomb site, but he's doing it in world-class fashion. 2 out-of-this-world headshots, and now it's on to Rez. 45 seconds. He knows the Bit is back there somewhere. He peeks once and will take care of business. Another 2 shots like that, and it can be done. He does see a shoulder, realizes where Bit is, so he's got all the information, but he hasn't quite got the time. 30 seconds. He could maybe run back if he feels like he's safe. They're going to double peek him, and it is too much. A good round for Navi.
Excellent round from Bit on top of that. Very well-placed shots. Bit has been in form. Very first round of Inferno, he hit some blinders too, and he continues that here on Overpass. Skill not dropping off for him. Would expect nothing less from a world-class player such as him. NIP just unable to scale onto that bomb site. Too much resistance. Navi, they're looking good.
That's a smooth beginning, and that stack, I mean, even if Bit did most of the work, just the luxury of having that many people there because of the forward position down outside of the B bomb site. And MP7 from Simple. That's a refreshing look.
Scrawny was making a case for this on his cast recently, and I think the GOAT heard him.
He was listening and saying, you know what? Canadian makes a point. Ooh, Perfecto. More of a default MP9 kind of buy.
Yeah.
It does fine.
It's actually quite good. It's just that the cost of it pushes people away from it, because the MP9 is it's similarly very strong, but MP7 it's a little better from range. You'd really want it if you were taking that medium long range fight over the MP9.
Plus you stand out a bit, you know. People recognize you, like, all right,
some flair, some individuality
makes a difference too. Now this is interesting. When you've got 4 SMGs and the enemy team is buying up with all AKs.
Yeah.
On Overpass, in some scenarios, it will be fine. It might not be a problem at all, but there are definitely moments in time if you get into some of those medium or long-range fights where it can be really awkward. Oh, here we go. Through, flashed right in, and the run down of Rez. Even going to be picking up the AK behind it. The flashbang there, betraying him maybe just a bit.
That's simple, just dive bombing into that position, making the most of that fire rate, close range running accuracy, all of it working in his favor. But NIP, the map has shrunk for them. They are all centered around this short A area, and Electronic is right around the corner.
Yes, he is. That's where you want to use these weapons. Bomb is on the ground. Still a minute left, and they are scaling onto the bomb site. He sees the shadow and Max to his close, but not close enough. Bit assisted with a flashbang, and that gives him the second kill. Alexi, too far away from this. Can't really do much of anything. That is such a timely flash from Simple. I would love to see the timing there, because maybe a second more, and Bit just can't win that second fight.
And Bit was just on a swivel there, turning from it, spinning back into the fight, instant headshot. He is looking really sharp in the opening rounds here of Overpass. If anybody wanted a single player to show up, okay, nice shot from Simple too. But Bit is a guy that Navi need to start depending on. Simple was talking about it in the pregame interview, how these other riflers, other than Electronic, really need to be stepping up. And Bit, I don't think you'd pick anybody else. Just dancing around.
Wow. Yeah, that was some sick timing.
The support flashes were just beautiful too.
You could throw so many nades from back there. I mean, there are lots of teams that have those double or triple HE setups for some gimmicky rounds where you want to stop a bomb plant from happening. It's definitely worth it. 3-0 for Navi. And NIP for once not not quite with the luxury of having that really hot start like they had on the first 2 maps. So another interesting and curious test that will come up is whether or not they can manufacture that kind of momentum, even if it starts a bit slow.
All right, we got the boost for Simple. This should be good for one. Great off angle. We've been seeing a lot of teams use this, though. It feels like every overpass game, you see this once, if not even twice, per map. And it'll be Simple. That's the benefactor of such a strong position this round. NIP, they've grouped up towards that area. Okay, he spots the shadow. Not quite presented the whole body, and so it's just some chip damage right there. Good nade damage as well. This wasn't going to be a likely round victory for NIP, but now it gets even harder.
Yeah, that initial element of surprise goes away. They've also lost most of the rest of the map right now. So, not much how they could do. I mean, probably still the plan is somebody get a deagle shot at some point. Just there's not much else they could probably do from here on out. They have a flashbang on Maxter, but that feels more like the kind of thing that you want to throw once you've got the initial push.
Yeah, and he's just gonna, it looks like he wants to flash for short, which is not actually going to accomplish too much. It empowers them. They feel like they can take that space, but there was no actually kill that they were able to find because of it. And now NPL, Perfecto, they're able to just defend that bomb site unimpeded and Simple. That's a collat. Nice shot from him. Easy cleanup for Navi there. Keeping all 5 other players alive.
When you get into this kind of a start, not just obviously winning the 4 in a row, but because you held on to all the SMGs in the round where you were up against the AKs and you still power through, just does such a crazy thing to your economy. Look at how much money they have, 3 of them at least, on that Navi side. That's something that NIP now have to fight through.
Yeah, NIP are sitting at 1 kill per round as a team.
Ouch.
And that is why the money has ballooned. Simple, taking a very forward angle in connector. Bit, he's been so scary at this spot. Yep, there we go. Bit activated from the flash from Electronic, already able to find the opening pick. And NIP, they are without a paddle once again.
Kind of close down there, Rez. There might be an opportunity if you feel like you can hit the timing right, but he gets grenaded, so I'll take it back. Down to 28. And what is the call? They have so much time to try to build something. Maybe a cheeky boost on the other side of the wall there. That's something, I mean, we're in the territory now where if you have a little trick or a little gimmick you feel comfortable in, Overpass is a map that lends itself pretty well to that kind of play. Ooh, that's doable. You can.
That was a shot. That was an opportunity. A slim one at that, though. Alexi B, he's got himself outside Monster. Okay, he wants to pop into this.
I love it. I think that's a sick play. The flashbang maybe not even really needed. Alexi just getting so close to the action. Now flashes are raining down everywhere. Simple from the high ground, though. He'll take one, and this is the next deep grenade. It would have killed Alexi, but instead, Electronic was quicker this time. Head trick. He's going to beat it to the punch. 2 versus 2. Bomb is being planted with 25 seconds, and I don't think they had any idea. Perfecto was down there. Close head trick. This is going to go down, and Navi will salvage the round. But that got so scarily close. Great call for Alexi. Just sending himself into the bomb site. That could have worked.
It was very close. It was the entry they needed, but they were already a man behind. And so when the trade started erupting on the bomb site, they are always going to end out behind. Despite that play from Alexi. If they just had that one more player, one more person to trade, could have made all the difference. Overall, though, very strong hold. As soon as Navi tuck themselves in to that pit position, they're so difficult to dislodge. Players like Perfecto, Bit, I mean, they just feel like they're never going to die there without at least taking one down with them.
Yeah, and it looked initially to me at least like the grenades that were thrown from NIP were really good. The follow-up set of flashes once they were on the site. But I think NIP as a team were focused on the bomb plant and not focused on hunting down the remaining defenders. So even a good flashbang's not going to help you if no one's actually looking for those kills. Bit of a shame. 5-0 lead for Navi. They're looking great at the moment. 155 AD for Bit. He hasn't died yet.
Wow, that's impressive stuff. Okay, he's already tough to deal with. Simple, not even far behind him with above 130 ADR. And NIP, they bought into this round. They've got some utility, but they've got 5 AKs. The firepower's there. Just got to get the pieces in place.
Nade goes way too deep, so they've got the right idea, but MPL, he got the gun out just in time. He nearly failed the timing on that one. Rez with a headshot on Perfecto Electronic. He's not ready. Maxter's pushed up behind him. Just so much speed. It looked like the defense collapsed just because all three members of NAVI really were not ready for NIP just pushing that deep. And Simple smoked out a little bit of damage on that one. And it will be the first round finally on the board for NAVI, or for NIP.
Yeah, I'd love to see how Rez was able to take down that player towards short too. It felt like he found a timing. There was obviously the main hit going on towards that B bomb site proper, but Rez seemed to find a good lurk there through the short tunnel. And that really also tipped the scales in the favor of NIP. A much more simple approach. They didn't want to actually give up an opening pick anywhere else on the map. They just wanted all 5 of their players to hit the bomb site together. They knew how close they were when they traded on the site last time. This time, when they have everybody there, ready in waiting, they're able to get it done.
And that's some more success coming out of the Monster Tunnel. If NIP start to feel like this is a position we maybe could abuse over and over again, if we could put some pressure on MPL down there and it's going to work, it can open up the rest of the map tactically. I'm sure NIP have a lot more planned for the restrooms and for long and for other parts of the map, but if you can put pressure on one part and have success there, it can spiral into a lot of stuff. Early timeout for NAVI.
Yeah, just one round lost, and NAVI already are calling the timeout. Despite being up 5-1. You might think Blade would just let these players play themselves out of that situation, but wants to make sure that they are centered in their next round's objectives.
One of the first players that I really saw abuse that Monster Tunnel and just walking in and feeling confident taking fights is probably Flusher. Used to do that a lot playing this map. Just supremely confident in just walking through the tunnel. Sometimes you don't need a lot of grenades either. You can just kind of show up, and unless the CTs hit a really good pop flash timing against you, you can really catch them off guard. I think sometimes the CTs just feel too confident on the other side. They're like, no one's just walking through, but you can.
Yeah, always have an opportunity to find a 50-50 duel. And this time around, NIP, they want to go back to their default. 2-2-1. They're going to connect with Rez towards the short side, it looks like. Try to make sure that there's no presence in water. Simple's holding a nice hairline angle, and I think he gets the tag, but it's actually Bit on the other side of the map that's able to find first blood. Brolin down, and they might not expect head trick there. Brolin's usually a solo lurker